You are listening to Any Given Sunday, a part of the Dead End Podcast Network. Please subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and all other podcasting services. Please make sure you check out Dead End Hip Hop, Dead End Sports, Dead End Gaming, Is the Mic Still On, Chris Platt's Strictly Hip Hop and Hoops Talk, and a host of other shows on our podcast network. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome back to Any Given Sunday for Sunday, November 22nd, 2020. I'm your host, Manny Brown, joined by my co-host, Josh. What's good?
What's going on, Manny? How are you?
Another day, another life, another toilet, right?
Yes,
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. What's up with you, man? Hopefully you got a happy, safe, blessed week. Hopefully you guys had a happy, safe, blessed week. What's up with you, man? What's new this week?
It's just been working, man. A lot of work on the weekend. Didn't expect to work this weekend, but I worked all weekend. Just one of those things where it's just my Sunday. I thought I was going to watch football all day, and it turned out I've pretty much worked all day. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And I officially got eliminated from my big money league fantasy football playoffs. So not happy about it. Not happy about it. Yeah. No, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm sorry. Right. I'm somehow still alive in fantasy. I don't know why, but somehow I'm still there. I think I'm like 3-8 in one league, or soon to be 3-8 in one league. I haven't checked. I might be still winning. Might lose it right now. Who knows? And then I'm 5-5 in another league. So we'll see. It's a weird year. So, and it's always a weird year for me with fantasy. I'm terrible at it. So, but I still want to do it. It's the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing ever. How's the family? Everybody good? Everybody geared up for Thanksgiving? Everybody's geared up for Thanksgiving. Due to COVID, I'm not going anywhere. I think my father and I are just going to have dinner here. I'm going to go to my mom's afterwards, say what's up to her before she goes to her boyfriend's in Staten Island. That's it. Just something simple, man. What about you?
Yeah, we might have some family over, but just keep it really low key, maybe like under 10 folks. Usually we have every other year, obviously pre-COVID, we would have a big dinner, but this year we're probably just going to keep it low key. Just like my sister-in-law, her husband, kids, mom-in-law, that's about it. So, and then of course us. So, it's pretty much the same, man. It's I think everybody's getting that vibe. I don't know. I might do a Zoom Thanksgiving. I heard that's a thing.
Yeah?
People are Zoom Thanksgiving.
That's interesting.
That's an interesting one. I mean, people were doing Zoom date nights and Zoom game nights and all things, right? So. Yeah, Zoom Thanksgivings. Yeah, Friendsgiving. People are doing their Friendsgivings on Zoom that I heard. Yeah. So, we might I don't know. We might do some Zoom Thanksgiving activities. We'll see. But no, man, everybody's gearing up for Thanksgiving. So although it doesn't, it's weird, right? Because like every other year you feel like when Thanksgiving is coming up. It's like one of my favorite holidays. I would say it's like Halloween, Thanksgiving, like 1/1A, then Christmas. So I know I'm always aware of the clock and the calendar whenever Thanksgiving's coming up. And this year it just feels like, Thanksgiving's coming up. Like that's the kind of year we've had.
Yeah, it feels like time has literally stood still this whole year. 2020 seems like anything.
I feel like every day is a Tuesday. That's what it feels like. It's like it feels like even weekends. It just feels like it's a Tuesday, right? It's terrible. Well, with the theme of Thanksgiving, man, I wanted to start the show with a little bit of a holiday. We'll stay away from politics because we talked offline. We just need a break a week from just everything going on in the world. You guys know, if you guys watch the news for 5 minutes, you guys know what's going on in the world. So, we just need a break from it all. So we'll save our political thoughts for next week and weeks following. But yeah, this week we can't. Trump still thinks he's president.
Joe Biden is.
He is. But yes. He's still technically the president. Yes, we know that. But he still thinks he won the election.
There we go.
I should say that. And Joe Biden's still picking horrible people on his cabinet. And let's see. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's the word. Afghanistan's still going on. No stimulus check. I believe there's like now 50,000 or 250,000 people dead from COVID, more restrictions in more states. I mean, the usual, right?
Nothing new.
Nothing new. So yeah, we'll stay away from the politics, man. But on that same topic, or on a similar topic, it is Thanksgiving, like we discussed. So I wanted to ask you first, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish? Like if it's a dish that no matter where we are in the world, what's going on in the world, whether you have a big or small Thanksgiving, COVID or no COVID, what's a dish that is a absolute, give me You know what? A dish is easy. Give me 3 dishes that are must-have for Thanksgiving.
Oh, man, Manny, you don't even know this about me. You don't even know this. I forgot that you don't know this about me.
This is what we're doing here. Let's do it.
I have a food phobia.
Really? I'm dying to know. Let's hear. Let me hear.
The only thing I eat for Thanksgiving is turkey. That's it. Literally the only thing.
What? Turkey? That's it?
I can't have sauces. I don't like sauces. I hurl at that. Anything that's outside of my plain diet, literally, I gag. I had the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. I literally eat just pizza and chicken. That's the only thing I could eat.
Wait. Time out. We have to explore this more here. So is it?
I know you wanted to talk about Thanksgiving, and
no. Hey, this is even better. We're growing in our relationship here, not only as friends but as co-hosts. What's with the food phobia? Is it just like is it a medical thing? Is it just a psychological thing? Is it just certain things? Okay. So let's start with the sauces. Like, what about sauces that just make you hurl?
I just don't like I don't like the texture. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like anything added to what I already know. So I know I like chicken, but I don't like any sauces on top of it because it changes how it tastes, I guess.
So you don't like barbecue chicken?
Like barbecue. I don't like anything. Name a sauce. I don't like it, period. Whatever
really?
You're thinking right now, people listening, I don't like that sauce.
Wow. This is like,
it's real.
This is crazy.
So I was an engineer, and I don't know if I think you might know this, but I was an engineer and a producer for Straight Talk with Ross Matthews. Personality. He was on the E! Network. He's on RuPaul's Drag Race, LGBTQ personality. And I was kind of like a quasi personality. I was on every once in a while. He found this out, and he made me try sauces for like a month. And there's like 3 episodes of me just throwing up on air.
Okay, I'm definitely Googling this, by the way. We'll share a link on the YouTube page, AGS YouTube page. Like this has to be seen by the world if you haven't.
No, it's real, man. And he hired a hypnotist. I got hypnotized over Skype.
Really?
And I started trying sauces, and I liked barbecue sauce for a little bit. Sweet and sour was okay, but I relapsed and reverted, and now I'm back to like not liking anything anymore. It was weird.
Really? Wow, that is nuts. Like I'm not dogging you. They're just like, damn, this is crazy. Like, so no sauce, like nothing. Ketchup, mustard, name a sauce, nothing. Duck sauce, nothing.
No. Man, the only one that's tolerable to me is barbecue sauce. That's the only tolerable.
Only one. Soy sauce. So if you eat Chinese food, no soy sauce, no duck sauce.
I just have chicken from China. I just get chicken and fries when I order from Chinese food.
Really?
That's it.
Really?
That's it.
Wow. This is I'm literally in awe right now. This is crazy.
I know.
So you go to a Thanksgiving, you get invited to somebody's Thanksgiving. You're just like, hey, let me get a plain dry turkey. Don't put any juices in it. Nothing. Just give me a turkey. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I don't mind spices. Like I cook my own chicken. I add adobo. I add like sazon. I add salt, pepper. But like outside of that.
Okay.
I can't do it.
So then what do you eat every day? So I know you said pizza, right?
Mostly chicken. Some form of chicken. Like I can have it fried, I can have it roasted, I can have it baked. I could have it in different forms.
You just don't add any sauces to it.
Spices are cool. I can season it. That's cool.
Right.
But I don't like sauces or anything like that.
And then you don't eat side items with any sauces, of course, right? So potato salad is pretty much out of the question.
No way. No way.
We're definitely going to make this video available, by the way, guys. Like this, you got to see his reaction. You got to see my reaction and then his reaction. Like this is definitely going up. So okay, so no sauces, no nothing, anything else. So for Thanksgiving, you basically are turkey, and that's about it.
That's it. Like that's it. If there's cornbread.
No rice.
No, I don't like the texture of rice.
Really? No rice?
Yeah, no rice.
As a Latino, you don't eat rice?
I know.
Whoa.
I know.
Okay, so what's the deal with the rice then? Just the texture? That's it?
Yeah. Because it doesn't taste like anything. I've tried rice. It doesn't taste like anything. It's just the texture. Same with mashed potatoes. I don't mind the taste of mashed potatoes, but I literally cannot swallow it.
Wow.
My body physically shuts down before I can swallow it.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, this is crazy.
Carrots don't taste like anything, but I literally can't. I just can't.
Wow. So carrots, no carrots, no potatoes, no rice. Jesus.
I eat fruit.
I literally was going to end our relationship if you just told me you didn't eat fruits. I love fruits, and you just no. So okay, so you eat fruits.
Love pineapple, my favorite fruit.
Okay.
Apples, oranges, strawberries.
All right, so let's go from here then. This is more important than NBA free agency anyway. The world's got to know. So what are the common things? So we've established already no sauces, no potatoes, right? Basically a starch, nothing, no starches. So what are things that are common to everyday life that most people eat? Obviously, everybody's got some sort of an allergy or a phobia to an extent. What are some of the most common things that most people eat that you don't eat? Besides the stuff you've already listed.
Everything. I mean, steak, spaghetti, like just name a meal. Rice and beans. I'm Puerto Rican. Like I never had rice and beans.
What's the deal with steak?
The texture of the meat. I don't like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Italian. I like pizza, but I don't like spaghetti. I don't like meatballs.
How do you do pizza then?
I order it light on the sauce. The cheese has to mask the sauce. And I don't even like cheese like that. I just like pizza because
interesting.
I eat like a 7-year-old at a birthday party. Like that's literally what I eat. Like no rationale. It doesn't make sense because I don't like cheese and I don't like sauce, but I like pizza. That's it.
Man. And you can eat the bread, obviously. And no issues with the bread?
I love bread.
Okay.
I love bread.
I love bread too, so that's okay. Good.
But
thank God.
I don't eat hamburgers. I don't eat cheeseburgers.
Man. Anything else? Anything common that like most people would eat? Like
I mean, just think of something. I probably don't eat it. I literally only eat
ice cream. You don't eat ice cream.
Okay, ice cream, yeah. Desserts and stuff like that. Like I said, 7-year-old at a birthday party, like going to like that's me.
So hold up. So I'm assuming if you eat a birthday cake, you have to take the frosting and stuff off, right?
No, I like frosting. Anything sweet I like. I like this.
I just lost my headphones. Okay. So
7-year-old at a birthday party, whatever that 7-year-old is eating, that's like what think of like your son and daughter, like that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm eating at a birthday party. That's me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That is I'm genuinely
I know.
I'm stunned. I'm floored.
I know.
I've never met anybody like you, sir.
I know.
Man, so I can't even invite you over to you're ever in I can invite you, yes. But I'm saying if we invite you over to the house and we want to cook you a dinner or something, it's like, babe, just keep it baked. we just gotta make you like a separate pile of chicken on the side. Like,
I know it's annoying. It's annoying. I hate it. It's actually, to get serious, it's humiliating. It's humiliating sometimes. You're going out to dinner with friends, things like that. It's very humiliating.
How many like weird looks have you gotten?
All the time. Especially when I talk to someone, and this is not me talking to you about this, but like when I talk to someone new about it, like it's always like, well, do you eat this? And it turns into a game and then dissing, which is like, for this purpose, it's fine. I don't care. But like after a while, just kind of like, I know, I get it. Like,
yeah, it's weird. It's weird, right? Yeah.
Stop naming foods. I don't eat this.
People try to make you taste stuff like, here, I made
are you sure?
veal parmesan. There you go. Like, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that.
I know what I eat. Trust me.
So,
my parents do it.
Oh, really? Your parents did? I know it drives your mom just insane, doesn't it?
Yeah. And my dad more so too.
Oh, really?
My dad like refuses to believe that I'm like this. Like refuses to believe it.
I can Latino parents. Yes, I know. I can imagine this drives your parents insane. Like it has to. Yep. Have you always been like this your whole life?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they, when I would go to the doctors, my parents say that my doctor said I would grow out of it.
That was my next question. So had they ever said anything about it? Like as far as like from like a medical perspective, like they've just said it's just a condition. What? So
I looked it up. It's called eunophobia. I'm self-diagnosing myself. It's just like a fear of taste.
Really?
Yeah. But that's the only thing that I can think of because I want to try things. I just physically can't. It's not a matter of will or want. It's a matter of will. It's not a matter of want. Like I want to do this. I want to expand my diet, especially like I'm getting older. I can't have like pizza and chicken every. Like I gotta like eat healthy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And my options are limited because I don't like a lot of different things. Like I don't eat fish, so I can't like and on top of that, I'm allergic to shellfish.
Oh Jesus! Like, yeah.
It just my options are so limited that I worry about myself. I'm not gonna front. Like sometimes I worry about myself, but I'll eat vitamins and things like that. But it's not something that like I'm proud of, or it's not something that I necessarily like about myself. It's something I've always wanted to change. I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I mean, it's sheesh, man. Well, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying like Yeah, we're gonna post this video, man. Who knows, man? Who knows who could be watching any given Sunday? Maybe there's a doctor out there that knows.
Maybe help me. I got hypnotized. It worked for a little bit. That was a weird thing.
Really? So you just got hypnotized one day, Ross Matthews show, and
I got hypnotized. And this is back. I'm not gonna tell my whole story, but like basically, at the time, just
give me the cliff notes.
I didn't have a place to live, so I'm in a Motel 6 on Skype with this hypnotist in Van Nuys, California, and being hypnotized. And
at a Motel 6, Jesus,
past life, quote unquote, where I was a girl named Harriet during the Irish famine, potato famine.
Okay.
And apparently, I'm traumatized from that past life.
Really? This is wild.
That's also on audio too, by the way. It's on.
We'll look it up, my friend. Trust me.
Yeah.
Man, that's. I mean, honestly, like we're laughing and all, but yeah, that's crazy, bro. Like, damn, I didn't even know this about you. Damn. I'm glad I get to find out now. Jesus, we meet up we meet. Yeah, exactly. We cook a big dinner, and it's just like
I would have told you. Before.
Okay, great.
Trust me.
So how is that?
Let your wife go through all that.
I hope you don't mind me asking. How is that then? So like, how have you been when it starts? Like you're talking to or you're starting a relationship or anybody? Because I know that has to come up eventually, right?
Yeah, it's humiliating. I mean, my whole and any situation where I'm eating with someone new, it's always something I don't want to talk about. Always.
Yeah.
The girls I'm dating, like everything, just it's humiliating. It's absolutely humiliating.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because it's like it's not something you just like. I've never even, and I'm a nerd when it comes to like finding out different phobias, different things like that. Like I'll research stuff like that. I'm gonna research this, and it's like that's crazy. I've never heard of it or met anybody. I'm sure there's people out there with the same thing, but I'm just saying like never would have known. Jesus. Cool. Well, the whole Thanksgiving topic then just goes completely out the window.
You tell me what would you recommend to me?
No, I'm not going to tell you that because you're going to sit there and be like, well, all this shit I don't eat, so it doesn't matter.
I want to know what you get. I'm interested.
All right, so my Thanksgiving, right? So I'm a pretty simple guy. Well, my wife will hear this and say bullshit, right? So I am a picky eater.
Okay.
I'm a picky eater, but when it comes to like the stuff I like, I'm a play the hits kind of guy, right? Like, so I like what I like, and people get mad. Like my wife gets mad because she's a woman at the end of the day, and she's like, try new things. Yeah, let's try. Like my wife will be like, oh, let's try this and let's try that. And I'm like, no, it's just give me what I like, man. I like what I like, and that's it. I don't want to try anything. I don't want to venture out. You know, if I've never been skiing, I don't want to go skiing. Like I just, I like what I like, right?
Right.
Especially when it comes to food.
Right.
I'm least adventurous when it like outdoors and food. I'm not adventurous at all. Like everything else in between, I'm pretty much game to try other things. But when it comes to food and outdoors, I'm no. So for my Thanksgiving, then like simple, I have to have a turkey. Like I know folks that like are anti-turkey or pass or just skip turkeys. I like turkey. Turkey is a must. Like have to have turkey.
Centerpiece of the meal.
It's the centerpiece of the meal. You know, and then of course you can have ham and pernil for Latino folks, right? Like any combination of those, but turkey is a must, right? Turkey, potato salad for sure.
Okay.
It's pretty much it. I mean, everything else is kind of, interchangeable. Like
really?
I can,
that's it?
Yeah.
Mac and cheese?
No, I hate mac and cheese.
Okay.
I hate mac and cheese. I'll say this. I'll put this right now. Okay. I'll put this out there right now. For folks that know me, and if you follow me on social media long enough, you know my thoughts on mac and cheese. It's just cheese. It's noodles with cheese slapped on it. There's nothing to it. Josh, you probably have never had mac and cheese, or if you have, you probably thought it was disgusting.
One time I threw it up.
How I feel eating macaroni and cheese. Like it's nothing to it. There's literally just noodles with cheese in them. Like there's just nothing to this. Like I don't understand. Like my wife is like a mac and cheese like freak. Like she's just like, and like a snob at it too. Like, oh, it doesn't have crumbs, so it's not good. Like, oh, okay. Well, I didn't know macaroni cheese went that hard. I guess I don't know. Yeah. Oh, forgot cornbread. Have to have some cornbread.
Yes.
Have to have some cornbread.
Yes.
Cornbread. Although not everybody makes the cornbread like I like it, man.
How do you like it? Do you like with the corn inside of it? How do you?
No, I do not like the corn. I don't like things inside my cornbread. Let's put that out there too. I don't like things inside my cornbread. So I don't like corn inside the cornbread. I know, whatever. I don't like corn, actual corn, like corn chunks. What I mean, like a little corn kernel. No, I don't want it inside my cornbread. I don't like. I've met people that put like fruit inside their cornbread.
Ah.
Yeah, like I literally dead ass, right? So I dated this girl before I met my wife. And you know when you're single, you kind of do the Thanksgiving rounds in a normal pre-COVID year, right? You do the Thanksgiving round. So I went to this girl's house. She was like, "Hey, come over. We cook Thanksgiving dinner." I went, and her mom made this cornbread, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, give me a slice of cornbread." And I'm just like, I'm seeing red shit in my cornbread. I'm like, "The fuck is this?" I'm just like, and I'm trying not to be rude because I'm sitting in front of all these people. So I'm just like, "Oh, I'm eating it." And I'm like, is this cherries in my cornbread? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, dead ass, bro. Like, I'm like, who fucking puts? And then I'm eating, like, I'm taking another chunk, and it's like, you know what it felt like? I was eating like a cornbread with like a Dole fruit cup inside of it. Like why? Why am I doing this?
I've never heard of that.
And for folks who may listen to this, no, the female lady friend that I'm referring to, I won't say her name. She was not a Caucasian, so let's just put that out there. It's not white people shit. No, this was she was black, but whitewashed per se, let's say. But anyway, I've never the fruits inside the cornbread. No, I've seen people put other stuff inside like stuffing itself inside a cornbread. Like, no, I don't want that. No, so no, just plain simple, old-fashioned cornbread. That's bread. Bread, right? Yeah, and I like mine's moist. Buttery, but not too buttery, not too moist. Just that right balance. You know what I mean? I like that. That's pretty much it, man. Like everything else, like I said, turkey, cornbread, and potato salad. Everything else, I'm kind of,
This is more of a Christmas thing, but are you an eggnog fan?
So you know what? I used to be like when I was young, like growing up, I used to really love eggnog. Yeah. And then like when I got older, I was like,
it's heavy. I used to love it.
It's too heavy.
I can have like half a cup. That's it.
I can only have like a cup, and like I'm good. Like 1 cup for the entire season. I'm good.
Yes, same. And my annual half a cup of eggnog.
Right. Like in other seasons or other years, like I'm good if I don't ever have it. Like so, I don't. Same. It's not a required like on Christmas Eve I have to have a cup of eggnog. No. Like I'll have that shit like December 10th and I'm good for the rest of the year. Like I'm good. Right. So eggnog is whatever, but that's weird. Like I do find myself like things that I liked or I thought I enjoyed when I was a kid because you just were always given it and you're just like, oh, eggnog. Then I grew up and I'm like, no, like Spam. I hate fucking Spam now. But when I was a kid, I ate it a lot. Yeah. And I was like, my memories of it when I was a kid was that I liked it. Or that I just tolerated it, I guess. Maybe I just toterated it.
Maybe.
But now I just like, I can't even look at Spam. Like I'm just like, no, I don't want.
Hood. I don't know why. When I think Spam, I just think like,
oh, that's hood. That's hood life. If you grew up poor, if you grew up poor, which most of us did, then Spam is some hood shit. But no, like I moved out here and like obviously out here on the West Coast, a lot of Pacific Islanders, and they love Spam. Like I remember I was at Yes. Like I work with a bunch of Samoans and folks from Hawaii and they like Spam is like
the
shit, right? Okay. Like, and they like they are hardcore for Spam.
Okay.
If you know any Pacific Islanders, you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I think the last time I ate Spam like religiously was like 14. And then I just like, I'm not doing this. And then, I feel the same way about corned beef hash, by the way, too. Like corned beef hash is just skippable.
I don't know.
Yeah. I remember something I used to eat when I was a kid, and now it's no, I can't do it. But yeah, man, I mean, I feel where you're coming from or something because I'm really a picky eater. So my wife hates. So you know how people have like breakfast biscuits or whatever, like whatever, Oscar, not Oscar Mayer, but Pillsbury or whatever, like just a regular breakfast biscuit, right? And people put butter and jelly on those.
Yes.
Usually some people, or some either one or the other or both. I don't do the both. Like if I eat bread, it either is going to be with jelly or with butter. I don't ever mix the two. Okay. I don't like mix. So I'm similar, right? Like I don't like mixing my sauces.
Right.
Like, I don't like.
It's too much.
It's too much. Like ketchup and mayonnaise together. No. No. There's people that do that. I don't. No.
Oh my God.
No. If I eat ketchup, I make sure mayonnaise is off of it. If I eat mayonnaise, I make sure obviously there's no need of ketchup. Ketchup and mustard. Nope. Not it. Not a guy. No. I don't even like mustard. So you'll very rarely, outside of like on potato salad or anything like that. Like I won't eat mustard. Yeah, man. So I'm a weird eater too, but I mean, nothing like you, sir. Of course.
Yeah, I don't know too many people like me, to be honest with you. No, actually, I don't know anyone like me, to be honest with you.
Really?
I've never met anyone who's on the same level. Every time I meet someone who's like, I'm a picky eater, I'm like, I'm a picky eater too. Like, no, but like, really, I'm a picky eater. I'm like, no, I don't think.
No. You don't understand, right? Yeah.
I legit have a phobia.
No. So my wife thinks I'm like, there's something wrong with me because there's certain things that she just thinks that are just like normal adults eat this. Like, again, the whole, like my wife looked at me like I had 3 heads for like weeks when I first explained to her, like, I don't mix shit. Like, I don't like butter and jelly together. Like, to me, there's two complementary sauces that you just don't mix. Like, I don't want to mix my butter and my jelly. Like, I just want,
Well, now you can point to me and be like, well, if you think I'm weird.
I'm definitely telling her about you, sir.
Go ahead,
yes,
use me. I'm more than glad to be the scapegoat.
Yes. But now, man, my Thanksgiving is pretty simple. Like I said, I get everything else. Like the side items are interchangeable. Like potatoes, or like, I'm sure it's weird because we usually have potato salad. Like every Thanksgiving I've ever either hosted or been a part of in my life, potato salad obviously is a must. And we've had like several different styles of potatoes. Mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, potato salad, obviously, baked potato. I mean, name it. So potatoes are whatever, as long as there's potato salad. Rice, whatever. But yeah, turkey, potato salad, cornbread. Those are three, given. So y'all let us know. What are y'all Thanksgiving musts, if we have to say. So, man, what's it called again?
What? Unophobia is like GNEOU phobia.
Okay. I will scour YouTube later and I will find out as much as I can about this thing because it's got to be out there. It's got to be other people out there like
I'm
that.
sure I saw a Dr. Phil episode of it one time, like back when I was like 18, and I was like crying. I was like, "This is what I have, Mom. This is it. Y'all never understood me. This is it."
But I want like some real shit. Dr. Phil shit is exploitive. Like I don't want no exploitive shit. I don't like actual.
He's not
like
even a real doctor, by the way. People who watch Dr. Phil like him. He's not a real doctor. No. He's not. No. He's just someone who says very obvious shit slowly, and is deemed as smart. He's an asshole.
That's just the life in America, right? We deem people on TV experts at things that they're not really experts at, but whatever. But yeah, man, Thanksgiving it's coming up. Hopefully you enjoy your chicken and
thank you. Well, turkey. I will be having
turkey and
cornbread.
Cornbread, yes. Turkey and cornbread. Hey, I mean...
Not too different from your dish. It's not too different. You just have potato salad. That's it.
Yeah, I'll add potato salad. I'll add rice. I'll add different things. But for the most part, hey, you can't go wrong with that.
Right.
You can't go wrong. Some would say you have a pretty healthy diet, all things considered.
A lot of people tell me that. I get a lot of protein, apparently. But yeah. I pretty much do. I mean, I drink.
So since you don't eat, since you don't eat like a lot of the meats and stuff besides like chicken and stuff. So do you have to like do supplements, proteins?
Yeah,
protein shakes. It said.
I should be. I should be doing a lot more than I do, but I have in the past. Like I've done protein shakes. I've done like 1-a-days, things like that. I just kicked myself off the 1-a-days because I finished the bottle or whatever, and I haven't bought one. But yeah, I do those.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I also like I don't drink and I don't smoke. I've never tried alcohol either. So like my liver's fine. Like just things like that. Like it's weird. I offset in other ways as well, I guess. So. You know what? We're actually very similar than you actually realize. Like I honestly I never drank as a teenager. Like how like kids our age were out partying. That was like the mission. That was like that was a mission to get drunk, shit faced. Like the first time I ever got drunk was when I was 20. College? Like I was going into the army. Matter of fact, no, I was 19. It was like my army goodbye. Yeah, like I was always the sober friend, right? Like I was always the guy that would make sure everybody got home. I would hang out, I would crack jokes and stuff like that, but I wouldn't drink. I would never smoked. Yeah.
Never smoked. The first time I smoked anything in life was when I got back from Iraq, and a friend of mine just gave me a cigar. It was like, we smoked a cigar. I never even smoked it, and I was like, I hated it. I damn near gagged. And I was like, why do people do this? And yeah, that's it. And I didn't even smoke like a customary cigar for my son being born. Nope. Just, I have the cigar still in a drawer somewhere. I've never smoked a cigarette, never done weed, anything. I've done an edible once, and I was like, okay, it's cool, but it's not my thing. Not my thing. So I've actually gotten, honestly, she's gonna hate that I said this. Since I've met my wife and been with my wife, I've been more drunk around her.
Wow, she's corrupting you.
She's corrupted me, bro. I never used to drink, and now I still don't really drink. Like, I'm more of a social drinker.
Right.
Jesus Christ, she's gonna hear this and think I'm just like, she's like the worst fucking person or worst fucking example around me. No, so let me rephrase this. I still don't drink pretty much, if at all. I do drink more now than I did when I was younger. Right. Okay. So in my 20s, in my 30s, I don't know what that says about me in my life at my 30s. Okay. Basically, since I became a parent, I've drunk more. Let's just put it that way.
That's okay.
The stress of being a parent has made me drink more. And by drinking more, Mike's Hard Lemonade is what I mean.
There you go.
I don't go hard, and an occasional Dos Equis. Anything else? Yeah, no. I don't hard liquor, anything of that nature. Nah,
you're good,
man. So that's my life, man. Hey, I feel like we broke new ground in our relationship today.
We did, man. We're becoming closer and closer.
Yes, we are.
Never met in person, but yet I feel like this bond is forming.
This is a strong bond on Juno. I can't even pronounce it. Junophobia, whatever. Junophobia. Okay, this bond is going to unite us, Josh.
It is.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Who knows? Maybe, who knows, by this year round, we might find a cure or a way of dealing with this for you. And,
I would love it, man.
Who knows, man? We'll see. And, that's my goal. That's my New Year's resolution. Find alternative cures, or at the very least, somehow a maintaining system to deal with Junophobia.
That is very unselfish of you, and I appreciate that.
Amen. Because you got to enjoy life. Life is just only one life to live, my man. Jeez, so much food out here that you're missing out on.
I know, man. And another thing, I want to go to Asia one day. Like, I want to go to Tokyo so bad. But if I go to Tokyo, what am I going to eat in Tokyo? Like, there's literally McDonald's every day. Like, come on. Like, I want to enjoy things. I want to go to Europe. Like, I want to go to Greece. What am I going to eat in Greece? Yeah. What the hell am I going to eat in Greece if I go to Greece?
Italy, you can't eat. You can't go to Italy. You can basically
Italy, I can go. I have pizza every day.
True.
Of some sort.
True, but even though they probably look at you like a weirdo if you like light on the sauce. Okay. No. So most places in Europe you'd be in trouble, but yeah, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, man. Moving on to something else that was crazy. NBA free agency, man. We are in the thick of it. NBA free agency officially starting. It's been Wednesday night? It was like Wednesday, 12. It's almost a week, right? A couple days.
And we got some leaks on Monday. Like we knew Dennis Schroeder was coming on a Sunday night, I think.
Right. But the official nitty gritty of free agency, officially kicked off like Wednesday at 12 o'clock or something like that. So, yeah. So first and foremost, man, what are your kind of early impressions of free agency?
My early impressions are that the Lakers are a lot better team than they are than the team that won the championship.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. I think it's something that needed to happen, and it's nothing against the Lakers. It's not an insult. I just think last year, when I was watching the playoffs, and it could have been the bubble, but I didn't feel like any team was really no one really felt like a championship team to me. I know it sounds weird. And the Lakers ended up winning the championship. Obviously, the champions. I'm going to give them all credit in the world. It's not to dismiss the fact that they won it, but I look at that team and they didn't feel like a strong champion. I can't explain it. It's just eye test type of thing. You had Gasol, you had Schroeder off the bench, Wesley Matthews, they are significantly better than they were last year. Just significantly better. And to me, that's the story. You have the champions of the world getting significantly better while you have all these teams just trying to catch them. And I think other teams got better. I think Portland got better. I think the Nuggets are still going to be good. I think the Clippers will be okay. You lose Montrez to the Lakers. Go figure. But, I think they'll be okay still. I don't know how they're going to I don't know what they're going to look like with a new coach, but I think they'll be okay. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone did enough to catch the Lakers. The Lakers are still the favorites, in my opinion. And I think, free agency is a way where you can catch up to teams like the Lakers or the Heat or whoever made the finals or whoever's the front runners, Eastern Conference and Western Conference. And I think the Lakers did a good job of separating themselves even more.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that. That's music to my ears, obviously, as a Laker fan. No, I agree with you. I think we're significantly. I agree on all points. I do think that I'll be the first to tell you as a Laker fan, it wasn't. This is not an iconic Laker team that won a championship. I mean, it's iconic for Laker fans because it's the first championship in 10 years. Kobe, as a Laker fan, like the outside forces are what's more special than the actual championship team.
Right.
But yeah, I'll be honest with you. This isn't this Laker team probably couldn't have, this Laker team probably loses in 5 games to any of those Warriors teams.
Yeah. LeBron's cast. To me, and this is not a knock on them. I think we just had some really strong champions in the past.
Yeah.
One of the worst champion teams we've seen in the past 15, 20 years. And that's, you're dealing with the Spurs dynasties, you're dealing with the Heat dynasties, you're dealing with the Warriors dynasties. So to me, it's not necessarily a knock, but they just didn't feel like a strong
They were the best team of their year, of their specific year. They were the championship team. They deserve to.
And they deserve all the credit for that.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as where you match, and I hate doing this game anyway, because to me, you got to wait at least 10 years to start doing that. But anyway, if you match them up against, I think I would say maybe outside of of the 2011 Mavericks, this is probably the worst team to win it since 2000. I don't think there's any other.
Wade's Heat maybe before LeBron got there with Shaq.
I think we're better than Wade's Heat.
Yeah, I think so too.
Team. We're better than that Heat team.
Pistons. I think a lot of people underrate the Pistons, but the Pistons beat a Shaq and Kobe led Lakers team, so it's not like they were.
I would be one of those folks that underrates the Pistons. That's a really good Pistons team. It was a really, really, really good Pistons team. But part of them winning that series was the Lakers implosion themselves too. That you can't not discuss that aspect of it. Sure. No, give them credit. I'm not trying to be as a hater Laker fan. I'll give credit. You guys know me. I will give credit where credit is due. The Pistons deserved to win it. They were the best team. They beat us fair and square. But you also have to say it's like with last year's Toronto team. It's like they were the champions, but you also have to admit the Warriors didn't have KD. And I will still go to my grave and say this: if Klay Thompson does not get injured, and we'll get to Klay's latest injury, but if Klay Thompson doesn't get injured, that's a 7-game series, and who knows what happens in Game 7, right? So who knows, right? But that being said, Raptors are a fair and square champion. Same thing with the Pistons, but I've always maintained that if Shaq and Kobe just tried to get along in that series, it would have been, I'm not saying that the Pistons wouldn't have won.
Right.
But I will say that it would have been a much different series for sure.
Yeah, it's just the manner in which the Pistons won. I mean, it was like an ass whipping, man.
and that's why I tell people
Detroit, it was just
and that's what I tell people. I'm like, that Laker team was just the whole Karl Malone Kobe thing. Everything was just it. Everything that went wrong in that series that could have gone wrong went wrong in that series. Yeah. So you have to weigh that somehow in the assessment. I'm with you. This Laker team was not necessarily an all-world team. I mean, you had 2 all-world players essentially. That's it, and then a bunch of other guys.
If you just got to have KCP step up, maybe Danny Green steps up, maybe Kyle Kuzma steps up, Alex Caruso. I mean, there were times Alex Caruso was the 3rd best player on that team. At times, I'm saying
absolutely. Absolutely.
Rondo at times was the 3rd best player on the team during the playoffs. And there's no knock on them. I think they're solid role players, and they did a solid job. But for them being your 3rd best player on the team,
it was a 2-man team with a lot of interchangeable parts.
Yes,
and now the Lakers are legitimately better. I think they are the favorite. The only thing that worries me now, this is me as a pessimistic fan. This is the Met Jet fan side of me. I worry we're too good now. Now you're bringing in all these personalities. You're bringing in Trez. You're bringing in, you're bringing in Schroeder. Maybe watch it be this year where it's like everybody expects the Lakers to win and they should win and they should just absolutely dominate. And LeBron shows his age in the playoffs. Right. And
this is the year LeBron
shows his age, and Schroeder and Montrez and AD want to choke each other out, and things don't break as right for us to do. I mean, that's a part of me as a fan, right? I always think the worst, right? So that's part of me is I don't handle success well as a fan. Like as a Met fan and as a Jet fan, I'm not used to being the overdog. I'm used to being the underdog, and everything that could go wrong is going to go wrong. So as a Laker fan, it's just like, this is weird. Oh, I'm a Duke fan, so part of me is used to that. But like, yeah, I'm also worried like we're just too good and the pieces aren't going to fit.
It's a legitimate concern. You don't know how they're going to play with each other.
Yeah, but that's more towards the regulars when we get closer to the season. But right now on paper, I just don't see anybody in the NBA even coming close. I mean, I would have said
seems like you're imploding. I feel like Milwaukee's trying too hard to make pieces fit, and they're making. I like the Drew Holiday move, but like you're getting rid of all of your roster, and now it's kind of like on the fly. You're trying to make a team that's going to fit with Giannis, and I think Drew does go well with Giannis, but it's kind of like you're breaking up what has worked so well for you the past 2 years at the same time.
Yeah, I'm kind of in between on that one, man, because I see where you're coming from, but I also like, hey, they had to do something. You can't flame out in the postseason 2 years in a row of that and on that level and then bring the same crew back. Now, there is an argument to be made. Hey, just keep trying. Eventually, work to break through.
Just tweak
it. I don't mind what they did. I think I give them credit. I respect what the Bucks tried to do.
I do too, but I think the days of like, I remember like the first year they were the 1 seed. Everyone thought they were going to beat Toronto and go to the finals and win the finals, and it didn't happen. And it's like, okay, well, it didn't happen this time. Maybe next year. And then this next year happened and they underachieved them even more. I don't think people are taking them seriously anymore. I think that there's this little doubt, or there's some type of, I don't know how to say this, but there's something wrong with them.
They're paper champions is what they are.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. A lot of it has to do with Giannis in the playoffs. And
Giannis, like that, you just took the words out of my mouth. I always hate this assessment where like star players fail on teams and it's always the team's fault. Right. Like when you have these superstars or these transformative talents on small market teams, it's always the small market team's fault. Like we never actually look at the player himself falling short. Like we never look at Giannis in the play, like in Toronto, like had Giannis played better against the Raptors, they should have won that series. They were up 2-0.
They were up 2-0 in the third game. They could have went up 3-0.
Absolutely.
They were up in the fourth quarter. That game went into double overtime, whatever it went into. They could have went up 3-0 in Toronto.
Absolutely. Game 5 was Game 5 was a back and forth. So even after they lost the lead in that series, they were up in Game 5. They should have won. They probably should have won Game 5. Like, why is it Giannis getting more heat for that? But somehow it's painted as, oh, well, the Bucks are garbage. They have no players around Giannis. Giannis should leave them. Like, why? Why does it Giannis take it upon himself to actually improve his jump shot in the postseason and actually improve offensively to the point where you don't have NBA teams basically running a 46 bare defense to try to stop you from penetrating in the lane? And it goes to another, like, I feel like that's a modern era NBA thing, right? Now that this NBA player movement, empowerment, whatever you want to call it, I just feel like it's taken a lot less stress and onus on the player and it's put it more on the team, especially small market teams. Like, look, I don't love Milwaukee supporting cast. Like, I don't think you can win a championship with Eric Bledsoe as your lead point guard. They have some holes in that roster, but let's be honest, that's not the primary reason that they lost. Like, Giannis has to be better.
Yeah.
That's just he has to be better.
Yeah.
This is a guy that gets thrown bouquets at him left and right all year. He's just transformative. Back-to-back MVP awards. And look, I'm not hating the guy. Like, I like the kid. I think he's a tremendous player. He's a tremendous talent. But, for somebody that gets bouquets and flowers and showered with praise constantly, all the time, can I get better performances in the postseason? I mean, is that too much to ask? Like, can I get better performances in the playoffs?
Right.
Than I've gotten from Giannis.
And that's the thing. Like, so when I think about the Milwaukee Bucks and I'm going to dissect them in my head, like that's what it comes down to. Because in my head, I'm like, well, they do this well and they defend very well. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. When Giannis is on the floor during the regular season, they're one of the best offensive teams in the league. So what is wrong? They just added Drew Holiday, who's a great defensive guard. They finally have a point guard. But then when it comes down to in my gut, in my head, I'm still like, no. And it just comes down to, I don't trust Giannis.
You know what it is, bro? It's a team that's built to win 82 games. It's not a team built to win however many games it takes to win in a postseason. Yeah. That's what it is.
I don't know if Drew Holiday puts him over the top. And I love Drew. I think Drew's a fantastic
player. I don't think Drew Holiday puts him over the top. Drew Holiday is a very good player. I think Drew Holiday is a little slightly overrated for me. Like, I think people feel like he's better than what he actually really is. Like, he's a very good player.
People say he's underrated because they think they should say he's underrated, but don't think he's underrated.
Right. Like, I think he's properly rated. Like, Drew Holiday is a very good player. He's not a superstar.
Right.
Drew Holiday is a borderline all-star. Like, that's what he is. He's a really good player. That you add him to on a great team, on a truly great team, Drew Holiday is your third best player.
Yes.
Let's be fair.
But so is Chris Middleton. They don't have a 2.
Exactly. It's like you have Giannis, Giannis, who you could argue is maybe a 2. You could make an argument that he's a 2.
Lately, yeah.
Could, or at least in the postseason, he's a 2.
Yeah.
Right? You can make an argument, and then you have a bunch of, it's like a pitching rotation. It's like you don't have an ace. You just have a bunch of you have a guy who at times who has ace stuff, but he doesn't really pitch like an ace at times, which is Giannis. And then you have a bunch of 3 and 4 starters. I mean, that's essentially what the Bucks are. You know what I mean? It's like, right. It's like, and I like Budenholzer as a coach. I think he's a really good coach. I just think he's another one that he's just like, he's got, for a guy gets, again, coaches of the year. Oh my God, Budenholzer, Spurs coaching tree, all that. Got to win the postseason. Like, that's where you get it done. The NBA is a postseason sport. You got to get it done in the postseason. And look, they've had some bad luck too. I mean, Giannis getting injured against the Heat, that didn't help, obviously. But they were going to lose that series anyway.
They were down 3-0.
Yeah, they were going to lose that series anyway. So, I'm with you, man. I agree.
Is there anyone in the West that made moves that you're like, man, they can give us a run? It's constituted now.
I mean, I like what the Blazers have done. I think the Blazers are, the Blazers know what they are. I like what the Blazers are doing. They're making quiet but smart moves. They're not making flashy moves, but they're making good, solid moves to add to that team. No, honestly,
no one else. Nuggets, Clippers.
Nothing that's like really. I mean, the Suns getting Chris Paul. That's a move. That's a good move for them.
They're not going to be a threat.
They're not going to be a threat. Not Jarv. Justin. They're not going to be a threat. Justin's got them as a top 4 seed in the West. Yes.
Come on, Justin.
Yes.
I can't say no to Justin, man. Justin predicted the Heat going to the finals, man. I got to shut my mouth.
Listen.
I got to give him grace for it, bro.
He's taking that W. He's taking that W and is getting drunk with power. Let's take it back a little. Let's dial it back a little bit. This has been a perennial bottom feeder in the NBA for the last 10 years, right. And all of a sudden they get Chris Paul and now a top 4 seed in the West.
Nah, they're 6-8.
Let's calm down. They'll make the playoffs for sure.
Yeah,
but
and then bounce in the first round.
Let's slow down. Let's slow down there. Let's slow down. But no, I think there's a lot of teams that have done some interesting things. I mean, in the West, I mean, again, I'd have to look and see. No, I like what's I like.
Who's your biggest competition? Who's your biggest competition? As a Laker fan, you're looking right now.
As a Laker fan right now.
Yeah,
like I think the Clippers. Well, I'll still say the Clippers, obviously, because they have Kawhi and Paul George, and I have to believe that Paul George is going to be better next year, right? Like, just law of averages would tell you that he's going to be better.
Yes.
Right. I'm trying to convince myself of that. I'm not sure.
I think so.
Right.
I like Paul George's game. I know that it's not the rational thing to say right now. A lot of people are hating on him, but I think Paul George is a very, very good basketball player. I don't know.
He's a very good basketball player, but he suffers from that Giannis situation too. He's not Giannis. He's not Giannis. The problem with Paul George is he's a number 2 starter that has number 1 starter talent.
Mm.
And he's paid like a number 1 starter ace. I'm using a lot of baseball references. For those of you, he's a Joe Flacco that gets paid like a Tom Brady, and he's not. And he has at times Tom Brady skills, but he's not Tom Brady.
Right. But he doesn't have to be.
He doesn't have to be, but I just don't think that team fits. I don't think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard as a duo fit, because they basically play the same position. They're right. In a lot of ways the same player. And they are the same players, essentially. Yeah. I mean, Paul George is a better 3-point shooter, but Kawhi's better. And Kawhi's more mid-range. Kawhi's probably a better finisher at the basket. But other than that, you can pick it. I'd say Kawhi's better defensively.
He is.
But outside of that, they're basically the same player. And again, when I watch that team, it's too much of your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn.
Especially with Doc Rivers as the coach, I thought they would implement some type of offense that got everybody the ball.
But see, that's where you need it. But that's where you need a point guard.
Right, and that's exactly. But that's what I say. Their bench unit to me had a better offense than their starting unit. Their bench unit run the pick and roll with Montrez and Lou Williams, and now you lose that. I know you had Serge Ibaka. What is Serge Ibaka going to do for you offensively? That's what worries me about the Clippers.
He's a spot up shooter. He's a spot up shooter now.
Yeah, and then even you just lost Jermichael Green, who's he was an underrated player for them. So
absolutely,
I don't. For me, the Clippers, I was really high on them last year, and I think a lot of people are kind of discrediting them because of the way they lost to the Nuggets. But at the same time, let's think about it. This is a team that went toe-to-toe with the Lakers in the regular season. At times looked better than the Lakers, especially when they played against the Lakers. They only got up for the Lakers. That was the problem. And then they blew a 3-1 lead. I'm not saying they would have beat the Lakers in a series. It's obviously foolish of me to say that considering the Lakers won the championship and the way the Clippers imploded. They probably would have imploded against the Lakers. But for someone to say that, the Clippers are that far below the Lakers, I don't think it's true. I think, the Lakers did get significantly better. And I do think they're the best team in the West and probably the best team in the league right now. But I don't think the Clippers are that far behind where if they make a few moves at the deadline and address their needs, and if Ty Lue knows what he's doing, they can give the Lakers a run for their money.
No, I agree with you. Look, I'm not going to go that far. I know a lot of Laker fans like to tweak the Clippers. I get it. I'm going to be more rational and common sense thinking, even though trust me, I love tweaking to Clipper fans, the 17 of them that exist. That being said, you have to look at it. If you're looking at this completely rational, right? I would make the argument that they're worse today from a head coaching position. I think Ty Lue is a worse coach than Doc Rivers.
Overrated coach, one of the most overrated coaches.
Absolutely. The fact that he will live off that, 2016 Cavs championship till the day he dies. From a depth perspective, they lost the sixth man of the year, and I think is Lou Williams coming back or not?
Yeah, he should be back.
He should be back, right? They lost Montrezl Harrell.
Yes.
They replaced him with Jermichael Green, and they've replaced him with Serge Ibaka.
Yes.
That I would argue that's worse, right?
It is worse. 1,000%.
So they're worse from a depth perspective. Lou Williams is a year older, and he was already showing signs of maybe.
They got Luke Kennard. I like Luke Kennard a lot, dude.
Luke Kennard is a big pickup, and actually, I think that's I'm glad you brought that up, and it's not the Duke bias in me showing, but I think Kennard helped. Luke Kennard helps that team immensely. He was an underrated sleepy pickup. I actually wanted the Lakers to pick up Luke Kennard
because he's a playmaker, and
he's a playmaker. He's a great shooter.
Yeah, he's barely. He can create his own shot. He was barely in Detroit, so people don't really know much about him. But yeah, Luke Kennard, he can create his own shot. He knows how to play the game. He makes plays for other people.
Smart basketball player. Smart basketball. Yeah, he fits exactly what that team needs.
Yeah,
So I mean, you can make an argument that they're a lesser team today than they were last year. I don't even think you can make an argument. I think that's a valid point. What they lose in talent, I think they gain in stability, if that makes sense. Because I think the problem with the Clippers also were last year is I think it's a lot of the Boston Celtics. Sometimes you just have too much talent.
Yeah.
Well, you have too many mouths to feed and there's no clear delineation of these are our A guys and these are our B guys. That's a problem. And I think the problem with the Clippers were they had too much talent. You have to look at the team. You have Paul George, you have Kawhi Leonard, and you had a core group of that team that, pushed the Warriors to 6 the year before. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You have Montrezl Harrell, you have Lou Williams, you have Landry Shamet, you have all these guys, Patrick Beverly. And I feel when you have too much talent and you have and not just talent, but talent with personalities, volatile personalities, that can cause a problem. So I think what they lose in talent, I think they gain in stability. Now, obviously, Ty Lue compared to Doc Rivers, if you guys want to make that comparison, I know some people in the basketball community love Ty Lue, think he's a good coach.
I don't get it, man.
I've never seen evidence of that. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. Championship aside, I have never seen evidence of that. I will always give him credit because, I know it was LeBron going crazy and Kawhi and Kyrie hitting some big shots, and he coached it. Somebody had to steer the ship.
Right.
So he'll get credit for it, and he should to a point. But Ty Lue's not a big time coach. So he's just not. I'm sorry. He's just not. So, I still fear the Clippers. I honestly, to me, the biggest threat for me is the Mavericks because I think Luka's coming. He's coming. He's coming.
That team around him. If they put a team, I think the Seth Curry, Josh Richardson trade was great for both teams. I think both teams address needs there. The Sixers got some shooting, and then the Mavericks address defensively and also get someone who can shoot the ball as well, so they didn't lose much. But yeah,
I didn't like that. I didn't like that deal as much as others. I I just see, to me, if you're the Seth Curry played well for the Mavericks. But
offensively, he did. Seth Curry was amazing for them, but the problem is not scoring the basketball when you're the Mavericks. It's being able to stop people. You can get rid of Seth Curry and still have a record-breaking offense, which they had last year.
True.
Losing Seth, it does hurt. You're not going to be as good as a three-point shooting team, but you're still a good three-point shooting team, and now you have someone who can lock up somebody on the perimeter, which is what needed.
Let's go back a little bit. You asked me who is the biggest threat to the Lakers.
Yes.
As of like a couple days ago, I would have said the Warriors, because I was one that believed that the Warriors were building a behemoth again, like with Clay healthy. And I still think they're going to be really good. I'll go on record. I still think they'll
make the playoffs.
Right now I have the Warriors as a top 4 seed.
Yeah, four-ish, 4-3.
3. I mean,
there's just no one in the West outside the Lakers right now that I can definitively say I trust to put together a consistent regular season outside of maybe the Nuggets.
The Nuggets and the Mavericks, those are the 2 teams that I would say.
The Mavs, I'm not ready that yet. I don't think they're deep enough yet.
I would say the Mavericks. I would say the Mavericks and
Clippers,
the Nuggets and the Clippers. Outside of that,
I think the Blazers are 4-5 in that area. That's where I put the Blazers.
Yeah, the Blazers are like a boom or bust candidate. You know,
the Blazers can finish anywhere. In my mind, it wouldn't surprise me if they finish anywhere from 2 to 7.
Yeah,
if they're the second seed, I totally agree. Yeah, I can see that. If they're the 7th seed, yeah, I can see that.
I still think the Warriors are going to be good because I think the Kelly Oubre pickup was an underrated big move. That was a really good, sneaky, smart move that the Warriors traditionally make. Look, and we'll get to it. What did you think of the Klay Thompson injury? I mean, it's devastating, isn't it?
It was so devastating, and it's interesting to see everyone's reactions on Twitter, because even if you're not a Warrior fan, I think everybody was devastated, which is interesting because the Warriors ended up being one of the most hated teams in the league for a few years.
You hate the team, but you don't like. I hate the Patriots, but I never rooted for Julian Edelman to.
I don't think anyone roots for injury, but just to see like the way NBA Twitter was and all my friends who watch basketball were like after Clay's injury, everyone's like, "Damn, man!" I think we are all, no matter who you root for, everyone was low key excited to see the Warriors again. Because I was excited to see Steph.
Let's be honest.
And Clay going back at it with James Wiseman. Now you got a big man who, it would have been fun, man. It would have been really fun.
The Warriors are good for basketball.
They're great.
They're great. Everybody likes a villain. The Warriors are good for basketball, man. Like, I hate the Yankees, but I'll admit to you, when the Yankees are good, it's better for baseball. When the Cowboys are good, it's better for football. Like, it's just certain things, and I think the Warriors have taken this. Now the Lakers are back up and running. So it's better for basketball that hopefully in the next century, when the Knicks are good, they'll be better for basketball, right? The Knicks
Austin Rivers is going to lead us to prominence, baby. Let's go.
We'll get to your Knicks. No, I'm with you. And plus, Klay Thompson is one of my favorite basketball players on the planet. I love Klay Thompson. I love his game. I'm a Klay Thompson apologist. Like, I feel like Klay Thompson is so underrated, it's a crime how underrated Klay Thompson is. And it sucks, man, because it's a guy that we haven't been able to see play at a high level for a year, and now we're going to have to wait another year. And you just wonder what he's going to be when he comes back. I know people are already writing his obituary. I'm not ready to go there yet. He's only 30. He's only 30. He's a shooter. He's not a guy that relies on athleticism and power. So I think he'll come back. And it was his left leg, not his right leg. So I think he'll come back. I think he'll be okay.
The man scored 60-something points on like 5 dribbles. Like, he'll be fine.
and then there's still people telling me that like they'd take Jimmy Butler over Klay Thompson.
Nah, man.
People in my family. Oh, Jimmy Butler's way better than Klay Thompson. Like, what?
It's because Klay plays next to Steph, and it's
No, I get it. I get it. But yeah, no, I hated seeing it. It was devastating. I hated it. But no, I still think the Warriors are going to be really good. I do. I know people are already writing.
The Nuggets will be good.
Yeah, I think obviously if you had to do a tier, I think Lakers are tier 1 right now. Okay. And then tier 2 is any combination of the Nuggets, Mavs, Warriors,
Blazers.
Yeah. And then that third tier is like Suns, Jazz.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I got to put the Rockets in there because they're still as currently constituted. James Harden is still there.
Yeah.
I do expect them to trade Russell Westbrook, but I mean, if having this conversation today on the 22nd of November, they're still together.
Right.
Who knows for how much longer? Which I have a feeling that I think they're just going to keep both of them and just like try
no one
to
wants
them
them. I mean, the Nets probably want James Harden, but Westbrook, nobody wants Westbrook. Who the hell wants Westbrook? Who wants to take on that contract?
And Kyrie's not trying to play with James Harden because Kyrie's not stupid. He knows.
I don't think Durant is either.
No, because he doesn't add to their games at all. If anything, I would argue those two don't add to each other's games. So that's already another issue in that of itself. And then you add him. Like, what are you doing there? And then Russell Westbrook, I'm sorry. Who's taking that? Like, who wants Russell Westbrook? That contract, that volatile personality, and people scoffed when I said, people think I'm a Russell Westbrook hater. I'm not. But, like, let's be fair. Like, the dude, you love Russell Westbrook because of what he brings, the intangibles, the toughness. It's the attitude. No, let me tell you what it is with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, what you love about Russell Westbrook is that on a February night, on a back-to-back against the Kings, he will go out there, he will play 40 minutes, no load management with Russell. He will play 40 minutes, he will score 29 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists, and he will give you everything he has. And you love that about him. It's in the postseason when you need smart, heady players, he's just not that guy. He's not a championship player.
I would even argue that in regular season, he's not that type of player either.
He's not. He's good enough. He's good enough to win you. He's good enough to win you 45 games.
45 games as your best player.
And then 45. When you get into the postseason, he's not good enough to carry you to the second round.
Period.
He's just not. He's not
good enough to win a series.
Russell Westbrook is not a championship point guard. Like, I don't know how many times people have to debate this and argue this. He's just not. He's not. He's a tremendous athlete. You love his sheer competitive drive and will to win. I think his attitude, and I think that what makes him great also makes him a detriment, because I think that sheer will and competitive spirit, I think, kind of gets in his way. And like, he's just so focused on winning that I think it just like.
I've never seen a player get as embarrassed as Russell Westbrook has gotten embarrassed with that mindset. He always just bites himself in every playoff series. Against the Rockets with James Harden, Dame embarrassed him. Harden embarrassed him again. Like
with the Warriors and with Ricky Rubio, the Warriors. Like, I mean, everything. It's just every time, every single time, bro. You couldn't pay me as a GM to take on Russell Westbrook.
Same.
You couldn't give me freaking billions of dollars to take on Russell Westbrook. Like, I just couldn't do it. Like, it's like, what are we doing here? And if the Knicks get him, like, what are we doing? What are the Knicks doing?
Man, I can't. If the Knicks, I am so done with this franchise. If they get Russell Westbrook, bro, and it pains my soul.
That's when I'll believe that the Knicks have turned a new leaf. If they say no to Russell Westbrook, if they say no to that trade,
I think they already have. You sign Austin Rivers, you sign Elfrid Payton. You're kind of shaping your backcourt right now to tank. I mean, you are. You're shaping to tank, but like, you're shaping your backcourt.
When in doubt, always bet on James Dolan to do something stupid.
No, listen, he ruined the team with the Melo trade. I don't care. I will fight anybody. I will fight everybody with that. That trade ruined any trajectory the Knicks had of being a long-term successful.
I disagree with you on that. I feel like that Melo trade in history has always been a little bit overrated. Like, I agree with you. They shouldn't have made a trade. They should have just waited for free agency if they wanted to take Melo. I agree with you. I do think that trade gets too much attention, historically speaking. Like, I don't think, like, people act like that's a trade where, they traded away, the rights to Kevin Durant, and they traded away,
Well, we traded away what would be Jamal Murray, but it's not even just that. It's like, it's not necessarily the players. You traded away all your chips, right? I'm not saying I wanted to keep Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari, and all these guys forever, right? But they are chips to make trades in the future. Also, you traded for a man who the GM didn't want and the head coach didn't want. You were running a certain system that whatever you can say, whatever you want about Mike D'Antoni, the man was a Robert Horry hip check away from winning the NBA Finals, and he was a Chris Paul hamstring away from winning another NBA Finals. So I don't want to hear about Mike D'Antoni. You can like him or you can love him or hate him. He's an offensive genius.
No,
given the right team, could have put together a solid contending squad in New York for years. You traded away all the pieces that he had to work with. You bring in a player who he didn't want, who Donnie Walsh, the general manager, didn't want, which ended up ruining Walsh's relationship with the franchise. So now you let go of a legendary GM. You put a cog in the system that they were running. You have to rebuild again. You have to go through a whole dramatic coach-player type drama. for a year or two. You get rid of the coach. And it wasn't so much who they traded for Melo. It was what that trade did to the franchise. So that was my thing. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that like Gallo, Wilson Chandler, Mozgov, and Felton and whatever, and a pick are like substantially better than Carmelo Anthony. But what I am saying is that what that trade did just set a wave of just like misfortune and dysfunction that ruined Melo's tenure with the Knicks.
No, you're not. Listen, you're absolutely not wrong. I'm just saying that I think that a lot of Knicks fans that I know, I mean, obviously in my family, and look, I'm someone, I don't hate the Knicks. I root for the Knicks to win. Like I want, I'm a New Yorker first and foremost. Like I want to see the Knicks do well. I want to see the Knicks back up there as one of being the perennial powers. I think it's good for basketball, right? But I just think a lot of Knicks fans like overvalue that trade in hindsight. And they're just like, no, let's talk about the trade. The trade itself, I get it. Moving the assets was a little much. I've always said they should have just waited to free agency. Yeah. Like, I don't like dealing away a haul for a player that you can get for free in a year. Now, you always run the risk of a guy goes somewhere, maybe signs an extension, but that's the risk that you have to wait. Like I'm not giving up my assets to trade a guy. You know, I'm not giving up valuable assets for a guy who's going to be a free agent, and then you have no guarantee that he's going to sign there.
But also for a guy, we just had a discussion about Russell Westbrook. If we had that same discussion 10 years ago, it would have been about Carmelo Anthony. The same exact things we said would have been said about Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony got out of the first round one time with the Denver Nuggets. One time. And then one time with the Knicks. That's it. His whole career been out of the first round twice. 2 times. And he's played with the likes of Chauncey Billups, Allen Iverson, who, by the way, yeah, he wasn't in his prime, but Iverson was still freaking balling with the Nuggets. Melo had help. Melo had teammates. Melo did not play a brand of basketball that is winning type of basketball. Listen, I know he won in Syracuse. I'm not saying he's not one of the best scorers of all time. He absolutely is. He's a Hall of Famer. But that man he's not a player you want to build a team around. He's not a player that you want your style to be based around. And that's what the Knicks chose. The Knicks chose to base their whole team and their whole style around a player who did not fit their system initially. So you had to break up this whole system and get new pieces in. And it only really worked for one season. That's it. It worked for one season. One. Yeah. And that season, these Knicks fans romanticize about it. But in reality, what did we do? We went to the second round.
You lost to Roy Hibbert.
We lost to Roy Hibbert, a team that we were the 2 seed, they were the 3 seed. So technically we were the favorites. We lost in a series we were favored in. So I don't understand the romanticizing of the Melo era. I mean, we had the worst season in franchise history with him. Like, worse than any of the Marbury years, led by Carmelo Anthony. And granted, to be fair to Melo, he only played half of the season, but still, I don't care. If you play half of the season, you shouldn't win 12 games.
Bro, you won't get any debate from me.
I just think the love for him is so irrational. I could understand the appreciation of his talent. But this idea that this man is like someone you can build around, or this man is someone who like got a raw deal in New York. No, man, he made his bed. He made the bed.
I agree. I'm never going to be someone that's going to defend his years with the Knicks. I mean, he ran the high point, the high watermark for the Knicks. You know, you could argue was Linsanity. Whether it would have lasted, obviously, history tells you no.
Linsanity happened? Melo was hurt, and then he came back,
and ran him out of town. And hey,
that was probably the most fun 2 to 3 weeks I've ever had watching the Knicks since like 1994.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say anything.
And I'm not someone who's delusional and thinks Jeremy Lin's like a superstar. Obviously, it wasn't going to last long, but it was just the fact that the Knicks were playing team basketball. D'Antoni was coaching, but they were winning on defense, which a lot of people don't remember about that. They were just a team, man. Jared Jeffries was making contributions. Landry Fields came back from the dead and started balling again. Steve Novak was hitting threes. Like, they were a team again. And
yeah, it was a good story. It was a great story. And Melo came back and was like, yeah, no, let's shut this shit down.
And the one thing I'll give Melo credit for this is that when he came back and shut shit down and D'Antoni got fired, they started balling. Because if they didn't start balling after that happened, then forget it. He would be getting bashed by everybody. But to his credit,
that's true. When
Woodson took over, Melo did play well for a season and a half, and that was it.
He did. Look, the Knicks, I've always felt, and I will continue to say this, as long as James Dolan owns the Knicks, he will be the problem with the Knicks. You need a strong, Cohen, baby. You need a lot of New York teams need a Steve Cohen. Don't get me started on that. I currently root for a football team that needs a Steve Cohen in the worst way. Yeah, I'm with you, man. So with that said, do you like what they did in the draft on Thursday night? or Wednesday night?
Yeah, I think going Obi was probably the one thing you should have done. I wanted Killian Hayes. I wanted the point guard. This draft doesn't seem to be too strong, but I'm rooting for Obi. He played in my town's basketball league, so it's like a hometown thing, which is pretty cool to see someone who played in your town's league growing up make the league and play for the hometown team. So that's cool. I wanted RJ Hampton on the back end, just because he has size. And I know he struggled a little bit, and there are a lot of people who aren't high on him. But at 23, to me, you take a young, talented, potential point guard there. I would love to take him.
There's a lot of boom or bust aspects to RJ Hampton.
Yeah. I understand.
But I mean, in a good way though. Like if he booms, he could be.
Yeah. But I'm not mad at it, man. I think I told you I gave a B-, B+, something like that. I'm happy with it. I think at the end of the day, we got good value at the 7, and I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be fine. It's just it's gonna get processed, man. It's you're relying, and this is what I say about the Knicks. Like you talk about young cores, right? Well, you think about Atlanta, they have Trae Young and Collins, and you can argue that that's a good young core. And you think about the Bulls, and they're a bad team, but they have Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen. All these young cores, all these young teams have their own young cores, and they're bad at it, but they're rising. And you look at the Knicks, and it's RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. They're the worst of the young cores. So yes, they have pieces, but it's they still suck. No one wants RJ Barrett. No one wants Mitchell Robinson. We can't trade to get anything. We don't have assets to give. So we're stuck in this position where we want to develop young talent, but the young talent that we're developing is still not better than the young talent that other teams have. Mm-hmm. So
I like Mitchell Robinson and I like RJ Barrett. I think both of them have a chance I think RJ has a chance to really come into his own.
I think Mitchell's a more athletic version of DeAndre Jordan, which is cool. I think that's dope. I think he'll be fine. I think RJ's going to be okay, but at the same time,
Kevin Knox stinks. Knox stinks. He's not good.
He's so hesitant with everything. But
Knox is not good. I never understood the love for Kevin Knox. I mean, I watched him in college. He was nice. He showed flashes, but I just knew that.
Yeah, Ntilikina, he's solid backup point guard for a playoff team.
Yeah,
but he's not anything you're going to build a team around.
Ntilikina's not good. No.
So it's and the one draft pick we hit on, we gave him up for a bag of air and potato chips. We have Porzingis, and we traded him for what?
Yeah,
someone who
Dennis Smith.
I mean, Dennis Smith is only on the team right now because we traded him for Porzingis. If he wasn't a part of that deal, they would have let go of him already. Because
I was so wrong about Dennis Smith. I thought Dennis Smith when he was coming out of the draft. I loved Dennis Smith. I just thought he was going to be phenomenal, and it's never quite materialized. He's just never really put it all together. He just can't shoot. Yeah, you're right. Part of it, which is so amazing to me that you come into the NBA and you can't shoot and you still can't shoot. Like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has been in the league for 5 years. And you still can't shoot. How?
Yeah,
you have world-class instructors, shooting coaches. You literally have your pick of the litter, and somehow you still can't shoot. How?
Man, it blows my mind too. I don't understand how people shoot 55% from the foul line. That blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind.
The easiest. I'm not going to say easiest from anybody could do it, but the easiest tool to learn, arguably, is to get better as a shooter, right? Just through repetition, through practice, through coaching, whatever, right? That's the easiest. If you're a bad rebounder, it's going to be hard to become a better rebounder. I mean, you could do different techniques and different skills, but for the most part, rebounding is an effort thing, right?
Yes.
So for the most part, right? If you're not athletic, I can't teach you to be more athletic.
Right.
But I can teach you how to be a better shooter. And it just boggles my mind.
Me too, man.
That you just are not a better shooter. It's just how? It just
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, now we're getting into rant levels, but no. I mean, look, I give the Knicks credit. I think the Knicks are doing it right finally for the first time in decades. I think they're taking their time with it. You know what gives me hope for the Knicks? That they didn't run to give Van Fleet a whole bunch of money. Yeah, because to me it was just what are you doing? You're beating your head against the wall. You're not winning. And the Knicks are better. To me, NBA GMs and teams need to start looking at look, we need to stop paying Charlotte. What is Charlotte doing? Giving Gordon Hayward $150, $60 million. For what? What are you doing? At best, that team's a 7th seed.
Michael Jordan might be the worst GM in basketball. He really might be.
And it pains me because I love Mike, but it's just what are you doing? You're not winning anything. You're not winning anything.
And you didn't want to pay Kemba. want to pay Kemba? You want to pay Gordon Hayward?
But you pay Gordon Hayward, who's finessed a one All-Star appearance, it's $221 million in the NBA. Like it boggles my mind.
He's in the trade for Westbrook.
I'm surprised it hasn't done already. It hasn't happened already. But even I don't even think Jordan said them. Let me take that back, because it's the night and the week is still young. Westbrook at this rate will be a freaking Hornet by Tuesday. No, look, I like the core of that team. Like, they've got some good pieces there.
Yeah,
take your time with it. What are you going out there giving Gordon Hayward $50 million? Like, he's not winning you anything. At best, they're a 7 seed. What are you doing? You're beating your head against the wall.
Yeah. Especially with a team that you are littered with bad contracts. Like, that is the thing with the
this is what teams in the NBA need to start doing. If you're not competing for a championship, what the hell are you doing? You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. If you are not legitimately, and I'm talking about legitimately, this isn't baseball where you can make a wild card team out of nowhere and can sneak into a World Series and win a championship. This isn't that. This is basketball. You need transcendent talent. You need transcendent talent, and you need to put yourself in a position with that transcendent talent to win championships. If you're not doing that, you're in NBA purgatory. You're not winning anything. Like, you look at these teams. The Kings aren't winning anything.
Right.
The Hawks are not winning anything right now. They may in a year or 2, 3 years from now. Who knows? They have the pieces there, but they're not winning anything. They're putting it together. But right now, they're not winning anything. You look at Charlotte's not winning anything. It boggles my mind. Like, I really think out of the 4 major sports, I think NBA GMs are the worst. They are the worst. Most NBA GMs are the worst. They are the most incompetent of the 4 major sports.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I agree.
Without a doubt.
I think for the most part, if we're to the opposite end of the spectrum, I think NFL owners or GMs the good ones are really good. You got your bad ones, but the good ones are really good.
I think baseball has the best GMs of all the sports, because I think there's some dumb football GMs too. Jesus Christ, there's some dumb. Look, the Jets have employed like 3 of them over the last 10 years. So
yeah, I just think with football, like, you see a lot of turnaround very quickly. Like, football, like, a team could be in last place one year, then immediately.
But that's just the structure of the game itself. You know what I mean? I think baseball, because baseball has so many moving parts. You need baseball is it's really science in a lot of ways to build a good baseball team. So, and you have to do it in small market. There is no salary cap. That's why I give baseball GMs an advantage over the other sports, because there is no salary cap. So you look at what the Tampa Bay Rays are working with as opposed to Brian Cashman. It's different, right? The same thing, in basketball, theoretically speaking, everybody's on an even playing field. So, I just think these GMs, man, like Orlando, what are you doing? Like, some of the moves Orlando makes, I'm like, what are you doing? You draft Jonathan Isaac, then you draft Mo Bamba. It's like they just keep doing the same things over and over. Like, you know what I think NBA GMs do? The bad ones, or just anybody that's not a good GM. It's literally just like throwing things at a wall and just seeing what sticks. That's essentially what NBA GMs do. They just throw things at the wall. Like, I drafted this guy. Oh, that didn't work. Let's throw this. Let's draft literally the same guy the next year. Let's do that, and one of them will stick. Like. It's bad. It's bad, man. But no, I have faith that the Knicks are at least headed towards the right path. We'll see. I still got to see more. James Dolan still signs the checks. He still owns Madison Square Garden. So as long as that man is still signing the checks, the spectrum of Dolan still looms large. But, I think the Knicks are finally doing it right. Hopefully Leon Rose, and I think they got the coach. I think they got the executive so far. They're doing it the right way. So hopefully, man, I'm rooting for you, bro. I am. I really am. I'm not a Knicks hater.
3 years. If they do it correctly, 2 or 3 years. But they got to draft well. And they got to hit on
That's the key. That's
mid-level, free agent types. You're not gonna lure anybody over right now. You're just not. No one wants to play for the Knicks. It's just a fact.
No, and nobody cares about the history. Nobody cares about New York.
No one cares about the Garden.
Nobody cares about New York.
Yeah, that whole New Yorkers. We need to get over ourselves. Like, we really do. Like, this whole New York's a prime time. Everyone wants to play in New York. Everyone wants to play at the Garden. No, everyone wants to play at the Garden and whip the Knicks' ass. Like, that's what it's turned into. Like,
and they get cheered.
Yeah.
Nobody. Yeah, New York needs to leave that shit alone. Like, the days of
this idea that Knicks fans are like this. Like, and I don't know if the rest of the country knows this, but like, we tout ourselves as the smartest basketball fans in the country. Like, that's something that we say. Like, we're not. Like, Knicks fans.
They confuse passion with smart.
We're idiots. I hate Knicks Twitter. I hate Knicks Twitter with a passion. I can't have conversations with Knicks Twitter. They blow my mind with stupidity. We're one of the dumbest Twitter fan bases. We're one of the dumbest fan bases. I can't have conversations.
It's Stockholm syndrome, bro. Like it's literally like you guys have been so abused.
It could be
for so long that it's. I mean, as a Jet fan, I know, bro. I get it. When you just get constantly fucked by a franchise consistently, religiously, like it's just
yeah. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about the whole Melo thing too, because it's like the whole era to me is such an obvious fail. Like everything about it was such an obvious fail. Everything went so obviously wrong. And you have these Knicks fans who like, well, at least Melo wanted the challenge and came here. It's like, no, dude, first of all, Amari came here first. Like, and there's like just a list of things that Knicks fans say that they have like these cliche lines they go with, like the Mecca. Everyone wants to come to New York. Melo came here. Like, and it's just like, no, shut up. Like, it's almost like that narcissistic dude who just can't stop talking about himself and thinks he's hot shit. Like, that's what Knicks fans are. And we haven't won anything since 1973. No one gives a damn about us.
Nobody
Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving chose the Brooklyn Nets over us. Not because they didn't want to challenge, but because we're so freaking irrelevant. Get over yourselves.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Anything else for free agency, man? Any other moves? What's a move that like a quiet, underrated move that nobody's talking about?
That no one's talking about? This is going to sound weird. I think Tristan Thompson to the Celtics helps a lot. I think they needed a big man who could defend, rim protect. I think that's what they were missing last year. I think the Celtics
agree with that.
Still very, very good. I don't think losing Hayward does much. So I think the Celtics are going to be right
addition by subtraction.
Yeah, I think they'll be right back in the Eastern Conference Finals discussion. You know, I'm expecting bigger things from Kemba. I know he kind of came up a little short in the playoffs last year, but listen, I know Tristan Thompson gets ragged on. He's a very easy target, dating a Kardashian. He's a little goofy. He played with LeBron, had some like bloopers and things like that. But Tristan, he's a solid NBA player. He grabs rebounds, he can defend, and I think that's exactly what they were missing. Yeah. I think he's kind of like a missing piece. I think that getting him is kind of quietly under the radar a good move.
The problem with Tristan Thompson was that he got $91 million. I mean, it's like exactly. He never ever in life should have ever gotten $91 million for his skill set. Like, and he better thank LeBron for the rest of his life. Like, you know, he got this $91 million. I mean, still one of the worst deals I have ever seen in my life. That and the Eddie Curry deal, and that and the Eddie Curry deal, giving Eddie Curry $50 million.
Do you remember?
Man, but still, Eddie Curry. You give Eddie Curry after a heart attack, you give him $50 million. Jesus Christ.
We suck, man. We're such.
Oh my God. No. NBA free agency is still shaking out. I brought it up earlier. I really like the Kelly Oubre move by the Warriors. I think that's I don't even think that move in the midst of all the Clay talk, I don't think it's being talked about enough. I thought that was a very good move by the Warriors.
Because he's not Clay. That's what.
Right. Obviously, no one. He's not going to be, and he's not supposed to be. But Clay. But
he's more dynamic offensively than Clay.
He's young.
Clay's better.
He's young. Yeah. He's athletic, explosive. He's still growing into his body and his game. I think the Warriors got to steal. I really do. I think Kelly Oubre's nice, and he helps that team a lot in a variety of ways. I mean, they can have him come off the bench. They can have him start. I mean, a lot of different things you could do with Kelly Oubre. So I like, had they not added Kelly Oubre, I'd be more concerned about the Warriors. The fact that they added Kelly, and I'm not trying to overrate Kelly Oubre, but I think it was a really good pickup by them. So anything else that really anything else NBA related? I mean, we talked about Gordon Hayward stealing money again.
Gordon Hayward stealing money. I think the West Lakers are just a front runner. I like what the Blazers did. I like Millsap going back to the Nuggets. I think that the Nuggets kind of revamped a little bit.
What are the Pistons doing?
The Pistons are, I don't even know. Let's just grab every single big man available and see what we can do with them. I have no idea.
They still have Blake. They still have Blake. So are they trading Blake?
They would, if there was a suitor for Blake, they absolutely would. Yes.
I still think Blake could help a contending team, by the way. Like, I still think I think Blake could still help a contending team. Like, I think Boston should go after Blake. Before the Tristan Thompsons, I would have made a point to Boston to go after Blake.
Yeah. I could see that. I don't know. For me, Boston, I think Boston, and you have Jason Tatum, you have Jaylen Brown, you have Kemba Walker. Right now, there's a lot of people who need the ball, and Blake can play off the ball, around the rim and things like that. But you're kind of wasting him if you don't really give him the ball and give him as many touches.
That's true.
Who are you going to take touches from? You can take it from Jaylen, Kemba, or Tatum. So I don't know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, we're still early enough in free agency where there's still some moves. What about John Wall requesting a trade? That's a fruitless effort. Like, no one's taking you.
Yeah.
Who's taking you?
Yeah, John Wall. I think John Wall's gonna come back. I think he's gonna be good when he comes back. But was he upset that Bradley Beal's the man there now? Is that
well, he's upset that his name was floated around in trade discussions.
Listen, you're in the league, man. You got to understand that's part of it.
And you've been out for what, a year and a half?
Yeah.
2 years almost? Like,
yeah.
What did you expect? Like, John Wall is so disappointing to me because I thought John Wall was going to be, and he's a really good player and he's had moments in his career, but John Wall, if we're being honest, John Wall's been a disappointment.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah, he's been a disappointment.
He's had a very weird career.
Yeah.
Some flashes of greatness and then other just like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah. He's another one that has 1A ace talent, but sometimes just doesn't play up to that level. Yeah. It's weird, man. So yeah,
I think his feelings are hurt that Beal's the man there now. I think that's what it comes down to. I think he wants to be the man. I think he wanted to come back. I think he wanted attention.
They needed to break those two up a long time ago, and they missed their boat.
And Beal got substantially better, so the Wizards are in a place where it's just kind of like, yeah, we'll rock with this dude. At least he's on the court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else from free agency?
No, not that I could think of.
What do you think, ultimately, what do you think happens with Westbrook and Harden? Because I think those are kind of the two out of the, like all of the storylines in free agency / trade season. I
think Westbrook starts with the Houston Rockets. I think he starts the year with the Rockets. I don't think anyone bites on him. I could see James Harden being traded. I think he wants to push to Brooklyn, and I think Brooklyn is the type of team and organization that would welcome him and just try to figure it out. I mean, listen, they hire Steve Nash at the head coach. Like they right now, they're just throwing shit at the wall and sees what sticks. They're just. I
don't think so, man. I think there's trepidation on Brooklyn's end. I don't.
You can't tell me there's trepidation for a team that basically hired a guy who never coached a day in his life to coach, and then Amari Stoudemire, you bring him in, and then you put Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Like nothing they're doing is making sense from a logical basketball strategic standpoint. It's all from like, oh, he's dope, let's bring him in. So to me, that's what they would bring Harden in, and they would just like figure it out. No excuses. You have the talent, go for it. That's how I think Brooklyn's treating it right now.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I'm with you. More the longer this drags out, the less I think that they're both going to be traded. If I'm Milwaukee, I said it on the show last week. If I'm Milwaukee, call Houston and be like, "What do you want? We'll take James Harden."
You think that'd be good for Giannis? And now with Drew Holiday, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but theoretically, you could flip Drew Holiday back to Houston.
True.
I mean, your plan blew up on you already. Why not just go for broke and just... I think James Harden actually helps Giannis. I think he does.
He moves him off the ball.
Takes the pressure of him scoring late in games, especially in the play. I mean, not that James Harden is any much of a closer in the...
Right.
He's a closer in a traditional sense. From a clutch perspective, he's not. But,
right.
I mean, if you're Milwaukee, you got to try something, right?
Yeah.
The clock is ticking, so you got to try something. I think that's the type of move that'll make at least Giannis say, huh, okay.
Right.
Can't say they're not trying to get you guys. They brought you James Harden.
Right.
I don't know if James Harden wants to play in Milwaukee. That's in the lab. He does not, obviously, but and if you're James Harden and you're serious about winning a championship,
he wants to go to Brooklyn.
I know he wants to go to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Whether he goes to Brooklyn or whether Brooklyn wants him is another discussion. But yeah, here's a name. Who do you think Kyle Lowry signs with? Because I'm surprised he's still available.
I have not had a single thought about Kyle Lowry since the season ended.
It's crazy. You're right. I have not either. But obviously, Van Fleet re-signing. You don't pay a guy $85 million to be off the bench. So Van Fleet is now the guy in Toronto.
You know who could use Kyle Lowry? A team like the Clippers need a Kyle Lowry. Someone who could play point guard and just kind of like
absolutely.
But I don't. He'd probably be too expensive. I don't think he would be able to sign with the Clippers. But that's a teams that need point guards.
I think
Milwaukee would be good for him too. Actually, if Drew would. Maybe you could have Drew run the 2 a little bit.
Drew, I like Drew on the 2 more than running the point myself. So
yeah, any team that doesn't have a true point guard could use Kyle Lowry, and I think that's the Clippers' biggest weakness is the fact they don't.
Before we got Schroeder, I would have said the Lakers for Kyle Lowry, because I think Kyle Lowry. I don't think at this point in his career, Kyle Lowry's made his money. I don't think he's obviously he's still available. He hasn't signed with anybody, so I don't think he's necessarily chasing a big deal, or else somebody would have throwing money at him with the way these GMs operate.
Yeah. It depends. Warriors off the bench, having backup Curry.
If you're Kyle Lowry, man, go to where
you have your choice. You have a choice.
Go to where you can win a championship, bro. Go to where you win a champion, where you can win another championship. Like your career's set. You've won championships as the guy or one of the guys, and then you've made enough money. Like, go win a championship somewhere.
I agree.
Oh, real quick before we switch topics, Bogdanovich, you think he signs with the? You think the Kings match that offer? They have to, right?
If I'm the Kings, yeah.
I have to.
I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, you have to. I mean, then what? What are you doing giving De'Aaron Fox $100 million if you're not going to match Bogdanovich?
Well, I think De'Aaron's a little bit on another level. I would say De'Aaron's better than Bogdanovich, but
I get that. But I'm just saying, if you're clearly showing your fan base that, like, hey, this is the guy, we're investing in him, you know. And this is a guy who's played well with them. Really,
I love Bogdanovich. The whole league loves Bogdanovich.
Yeah,
and honestly, I loved him going to Milwaukee. If Milwaukee had Bogdanovich right now,
that was so perfect for them.
We would having a different discussion right now about Milwaukee. But
yeah, I love that. I love Bogdanovich more than I love the Drew Holiday pickup. Honestly, yeah. Shame that it fell apart there for Milwaukee because I thought that was a really good move. So, yeah, man, we'll see. By this time next week, who knows? We can know more about what's going on. Brandon Ingram is still a restricted free agent, which is weird.
That is weird.
That is very weird. I don't know
he'll be back with the Pels.
He'll be back with the Pelicans, but I just find that weird that nobody's done a poison pill on him yet.
Shouts to the Knicks for not doing it.
I mean,
that's something the Knicks would have done.
But hey, if you're gonna do it, if the Knicks were to do it, I'd rather you do it with a Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, someone who's younger,
right?
Yeah,
yeah. So, all right, man. Let's transition over to our Week 11 recap. Let's get it. Week 11 of the NFL season. Anything that stands out to you today as far as the game's action? We'll go through each game, but anything that stands out to you from tonight's or today's games? I know you didn't watch everything because you were working, but just from everything that you've been following.
So to me, there are 3 teams that win the Super Bowl. This is a total change up from what I said last week. You have the Chiefs and the Steelers in the AFC.
Yeah.
And I'm making the prediction right now. The Saints are winning the NFC.
Oh, I'm glad you brought up the Saints.
You said this last year.
I'm glad you brought up the Saints. For all those idiots on Twitter who were offended, scoffed at the fact that how dare you start Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston? First of all, have you guys not seen Jameis Winston play quarterback? Number one. Number two, and I'm not a Taysom Hill fan. I'm just saying, first of all, I think Sean Payton knows what he's doing.
Yes.
He's a very good coach. He's won a championship. He's been a great head coach for over 15 years in New Orleans. I think he knows what he's doing. I think if Sean Payton says Taysom Hill could play quarterback and I'd rather him play quarterback than Jameis Winston, I think I'm going to lean on Sean Payton knowing what he's doing. That being said, and he only backs it up by balling out today.
And it wasn't just, honestly, he impressed me and he was cool and everything.
Taysom Hill is okay. Like, he is not a bad he's not a bad player.
He's not. But it wasn't just him that impressed me. It's the defense, man.
Like, their defense is legit. I mean, like,
if you have someone like Drew Brees, who typically, for the most part, takes care of the football with the weapons that he has, now you finally got Michael Thomas back. Emmanuel Sanders is back healthy. You have Kamara. Like, there's no excuse for the Saints. None.
I agree.
The Packers are a little up and down for me. The Buccaneers, I like them, but I think if they get hot in the playoffs, obviously you have Brady, you have the talent, you have the offensive weapons there.
Yeah.
But you beat them twice in the regular season. I just feel right now, if there's tiers, I think the Saints are in a tier by themselves. It's not like a huge tier by themselves. They're like right here, and then everyone else is kind of like just kind of below. Yeah. I think they're the clear-cut best team in the NFC right now.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. So let's go through these games real quick. Thursday night football, Seahawks, Cardinals. Anything that stood out in that game?
Yeah, man, Carlos Dunlap, huge game. I think the Seahawks defense plays well. They have playmakers on all 3 levels, man. And a lot of people are ragging on my boy Jamal Adams blowing coverage on that touchdown pass. But I think overall he played well. You have, like I said, all 3 levels, you have playmakers. If they can figure that out, if Norton can figure that out, and that Seattle defense is at least competent in the playoffs. I know Russell hasn't been playing his best, but that team is a team that I can see knocking off the Saints. Honestly, if they have a perfect game, they have that type of game.
Yeah.
So they're dangerous. Yeah. I think the Seahawks are dangerous. I do.
No, Seahawks are dangerous. I just don't trust that defense, even with Carlos
and you shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't trust that defense.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Right now, you shouldn't. I'm saying, but if they brought it together, they're scary, dude.
To me, I was kind of underwhelmed at how Arizona played. I don't think Arizona played that well. I think
Arizona's not that good, man.
They're not that good, but I also think it was a little bit of a hangover game. That they had that incredible game against the Bills, then short week coming back playing your division rival, first place on the line. I think that was more of a hangover game than necessarily, And I don't want to take anything away from Seattle, but I just think that I was uninspired with how Arizona's like and even with that, they still had a chance to win that game. So
yeah, they're like a streaky 3-point shooter. When it's going in, like you think he's like a great shooter. Like that's how the offense is for Arizona. Like their offense looks really bad sometimes. I think a lot of people look at Kyler Murray and see the stats he's putting up and see like the highlights and things like that, and they think their offense is like really good. I know statistically it might be, but there's a lot of times they stall out and they look sloppy. They don't look they're really doing much. Their run game could be better with their running backs at least. I know they have a lot of rushing yards in large part that is due to Kyler, and that counts for something. But the offensive line is not creating holes for the running backs. DeAndre's not being used as much as I thought he'd be used, even though he's having a good season. They just kind of seem a little – there's something off with that offense. I can't explain it. When I'm watching them, it's like you have the potential. You're just not reaching it.
I agree. Bengals, Washington football team focused on not saying it. Man, Joe Burrow, man. Oh, man. What a bad break, literally and figuratively for Cincinnati, man.
I hope he just comes back healthy, man. I
hope so. I hope it's not what I hope is they don't rush him back. Don't rush him back. Cincinnati, You're not doing anything next year anyway. Even if Burrow stayed healthy, you're still at least a year or two away from really being really good. Take your time with them. Don't rush him back.
Right.
Learn from the Carson Wentz situation. Don't rush these guys back.
Right. Start Finley and Tank. Honestly, it's a tank next year.
Yeah, I won't go that far, but I think don't bring him back in a year. Bring him back next November. Don't rush it. Don't try to have him ready by week 1. Just take your time with it. At the very least, we bring him back October 15th or some shit like that. Like don't
week
take
6,
your time. Week 7. Yeah, don't rush it. That's the worst thing they could do. But bad break.
3-3 and see where you're at or something.
Yeah, bad break for Cincinnati, man, because he really had that team playing better, way better this year.
Yeah,
and now they're back to square one. Hopefully he can recover and That's I hated hearing about that. Falcons, Saints, we already talked about the Saints. Falcons are the Falcons, so nothing much to talk about there. Steelers and the Jags. Steelers just keep rolling on, 10-0.
Yeah, man, they're good. They're good. And their defense is really, really, really good. Their offense, they have weapons. It's ridiculous amount of weapons they have on offense in every position. They're just
Big Ben's my MVP, man. I know Russell was the early favorite, and now Mahomes is kind of taking that mantle. Rodgers is in the discussion, but I think Roethlisberger, he's having a really good year at his age. At his age, they haven't lost, and he's made the difference on that team. Look at what that team was last year. Duck Hodges, Duck Goose Hodges.
MAGA Rudolph.
MAGA Rudolph, and you bring back Big Ben, and it's just a totally different thing. And the defense is obviously better, and now one of the best, if not the best in the league. But he's my MVP candidate. The Steelers are so good. It's honestly, barring injury and just lack of performance, I think we're heading towards a Steelers-Chiefs AFC Championship game, which would be
1,000%.
Which would be an awesome game.
1,000%.
Yeah,
they're by far the two best. I wouldn't say by far, but they are the best two teams in the AFC.
Absolutely. Not even close. Yep. Yeah. Pats and the Texans.
Nothing to say here. Just two. I wouldn't even call the Texans mediocre. Pats are very mediocre. Just a game that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Patriots are not what they used to be. This is what it is.
No. Still a winnable game for them. I know Deshaun Watson went off, but I still watch the Houston Texans, and I'm just like, that team should be so much better. Even without Hopkins, it's just they should still be so much better. Just the level of underperformance there is just crazy to me. Browns, Eagles, 22-17 Browns.
The Eagles are so bad, man, and the Browns. The Browns know themselves. This is something about the Browns that I'll give them credit. Stefanski knows his team, plays solid defense. Don't put Baker in positions where he has to make too many plays or do too much. Get him out the pocket because he likes running out the pocket. Run the football at Chubb, and now you have Kareem Hunt. They have a formula, and it's working.
Have we reached the level now where Baker's officially a game manager?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Glad we've reached that level.
Listen, you can win a Super Bowl with a game manager.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's been done.
Nick Foles
many a times, right? Yeah. So yeah, I would argue
Eli.
Absolutely, you could definitely argue that. Look, Browns are what they are. They're 7-3. I don't think they're any worse or any better than that. They are what they are. They're a solid team. Nick Chubb is a monster. God, their running game is so great. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Jesus, and their defense is really good. I mean, they have the ingredients to be a good team in January. So I'll give them that. The Eagles are just
atrocious.
I don't even know how to diagnose it. Like, it's just, is it all Carson Wentz? Is it?
They honestly don't look like they know what they're doing. Like
they don't know what they are. They don't know what they are. They don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what is the Eagles' identity?
I couldn't even tell you that because when I think of the Eagles, I just think sloppy. Like Carson Wentz running around and just chucking stuff up. You have a running back, a solid running back in Miles Sanders. I think they should be more dedicated to running the football.
Yes. If they're not careful, I know this division is so bad that they're still in it, obviously, and it's going to come down to literally week 17, week 18, week 25 at the rate we're going with COVID.
Giants are playing better, man.
They are, but it's still hard for me to take the Giants seriously. I have to by default, right? But if Peterson's not careful, he might end up getting himself fired, man, because this is a huge debacle here. 3-6-1 for a team like that, when you could arguably make the case that they've got the best quarterback in the division, and you're 3-6-1. I know they've had some injuries. I know their receiving core is not great, but
there's no excuse. There's no excuse.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. Lions and Panthers, 20-0 Panthers. Panthers had that kid from Temple, that QB, PJ Walker, come in and just light up the Lions.
Walker, the Lions confuse me. There's no reason why Matthew Stafford, I know you're not a huge fan of him, but him being your quarterback, you just score 0 points. It makes absolutely no sense to me.
Matthew Stafford is the most overrated quarterback in the history of football.
I disagree with that.
He is a stat sheet stuffer. To me, when you are a great quarterback, you have to win in spite sometimes of your surroundings. And Matthew Stafford just never lifts people. That's my problem with Matthew Stafford. It's just like he just never lifts people beyond what they are. Like, Matt Patricia's a terrible coach. We get that. But
that's where I was going to go with.
And that's a huge part of it. I get it. But sometimes you got to win in spite of that shit. You think other great quarterbacks haven't had shitty coaches? Phillip Rivers had a career of shitty coaches. Like, and he still won more than Matthew Stafford. Like, to me, he's a guy who fills up the stat sheet. You look at all the measurables and you just love him. You love what you see. The arm, everything. And his wife, apparently she lives in Siberia now. She lives in Cuba. That's another thing. That's another thing. But Jesus Christ.
I get you though. Stat Patford.
Basically, Titans and Ravens.
The Ravens, man, they are not contenders. They are not contenders. They're taking a step back this year. The Titans, to me, I don't think the Titans are going to make a run like they did last year. I think they surprised everybody going to the AFC Championship last year, and I think they're a solid team that probably loses in the first or second round, depending on the matchup they have in the playoffs. But the Ravens, man, I'm very disappointed from what I'm seeing with the Ravens. And it's not even a Lamar Jackson thing. It's the whole team. They just, they don't really do anything particularly great. You know what I mean? Their defense isn't great. Their offense isn't great. Lamar's he's not as dynamic because the league's kind of caught up to him. He's still good, but he's not like killing everybody every week. So it's just they're a team. They're good. Like they're going to sneak into the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs, but they'll be out in the first round.
I am puzzled by the Ravens.
Yeah.
They're literally, I don't know what to make of them, man. I think that they're still a good football team. I'm higher on them than you are. I still think they have the tools, you have the ability and the tools and the players to make a run. I just, right now, week 11, I'm not seeing it, but
they should have won this game.
They should have won. They should have beat the Steelers. They should have won this game. I mean, they should easily be, 8-2, 7-3, instead of 6-4 right now. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Ravens, man. It's I don't know if it is just like a playoffs lag from losing to the Titans last year the way they did. I don't know what it is, but they're just not as good as they were last year. That's obvious. The Chargers finally win one. It took the Jets, obviously, 28-34 in a game that was a lot closer than it probably should have been for the Chargers. But anything to say about there? Herbert is a monster.
Just excited to see Justin Herbert, man.
Herbert's a monster, man. He's great.
So,
he's
they're awful. I think the head coach. I think Anthony Lynn I don't know what it is with this team blowing leads. I mean, they didn't almost blow this game against the Jets. They had it in hand the whole time. I'm just not really impressed with them from a strategical standpoint, and they just always seem to blow a second half lead. And I think if they were playing anybody else, they probably would have blown this lead too. So
I like Anthony Lynn, but it's getting harder and harder to defend him each week when he's blowing leads like that.
He's not a head coach. I like him too.
You could be right. You could be right, man. You could be right. But no, the Chargers got it going, man. They got a quarterback who I missed in the last 10 years. I'm usually pretty good on the quarterbacks. And I was wrong about Mahomes, and I was wrong about Herbert.
Mahomes.
Mahomes, I had the whole Big 12 quarterback thing in my head. And I'm glad I was wrong about that. And then Herbert, I just did not see it. I didn't see it
from a standpoint where it's like, I can't even being this guy now, but just having conversations with pro football players in the uninterrupted office. I'm not going to name names. Nobody was high on Herbert. Everyone thought this dude was trash.
Yeah, I thought he was trash in Oregon. I did not love him, and I watched a lot of Oregon. I just did not like him.
Behind the scenes, people were talking about him stay away. And when the Chargers took him, I was like, it raised my eyebrow because I don't really watch college football, but I remember those conversations that I heard. And it was multiple conversations who have inside tracks. And I was like, oh, okay.
Hey, he's good. Now it helps having Keenan Allen, and it helps. Obviously, right? It helps, but he's not throwing to Josh Rodriguez and Manny Brown. I mean, he's throwing to a borderline All-Pro receiver there. But Herbert is nice, man. Herbert is nice. Yeah. And the surprise of the day for me, 20-13, Broncos over Dolphins.
Yeah, that surprised me too. Tua pulled at the end, which was kind of interesting to me. You have a young quarterback. I know you're fighting for a playoff spot, but I mean, you don't. Listen, I love Brian Flores. I think he's one of the best young coaches in the league. I'm not going to kill him for it, but if you are going to hand the keys over to a young quarterback in the middle of a playoff race, while your other quarterback, let's be honest, Ryan Fitzpatrick wasn't playing bad when they handed the keys over.
No,
it wasn't like Ryan was playing bad.
No,
so you handed the keys over to Tua in the middle of the season. If he's going to struggle a little bit, you got to expect that he's a rookie. This is his first bad game. Let him play through.
Well, then wasn't the official cause an injury or something like that, or did they just straight pull him?
I thought he was pulled. Now, if I'm wrong about that, I will retract what I'm saying. But from what I read, he was pulled. I wasn't watching the game.
I mean, I watched it on Red Zone, so I wasn't actively paying attention. I saw when they pulled him, and I thought that
if it was an injury, then I take back what I said.
I thought that they said something about he came up lame somewhere, but no. I mean, it sure did look like he was pulled because, I mean, he was standing on the sideline. He had a beanie on. I mean, it wasn't like he was in a tent. It wasn't like he was in a locker room. So unless it wasn't a concussion, I'm thinking he could have came back in the game, but I don't know, but yeah, that's a weird situation. I don't know what they're doing in Miami if that's the case. What the goal there is. Another shock game for me. Cowboys. Oh, before I even go to that, the Broncos are the ultimate 7-9 team, aren't they? Every year, it's just their defense is good enough. Their offense is up and down. Drew Lock, is he the guy? Is he not the guy? Some days you love him, some days you don't. It's just
There's more don't lately with Drew for me. But.
And then Vic Fangio is a defensive coordinator masquerading as a head coach. So
yeah.
What can you say about the Broncos? They're the ultimate 7-9 team. Just not good enough, but just not bad enough. They're just in the middle.
Right.
Cowboys and the Vikings. That's another surprise game. I did not expect the Cowboys to win this game. This is why you can't trust the Vikings. This is why you can't trust the Vikings.
Exactly.
This is the prototypical Vikings loss the last few years. And I've been high on the Vikings because I've had the Vikings in the Super Bowl at least 2 times the last couple years. And then the Vikings are
their favorite 9 points going into this game. They have a win in Chicago. I think they won 3 straight games coming into this game. You think they're turning the corner a little bit, going to get a wild card spot, and then they lose to the Cowboys. And listen, shout out to the Cowboys. You have a competent quarterback. Look what that offense looks like. I know Andy Dalton's not Dak, but Andy Dalton is a competent quarterback. Yeah. And you have weapons. You have CD, you have Cooper, you have Zeke. I mean, this Cowboys team, if Dak's around, I mean, to me, they're winning the NFC East easy. They're by far the best team in the NFC East. So
talent-wise, yes, they are. Yeah, talent-wise, they are. And at 3-7, they're in the thick of things. Disgusting to say that, but they are. And the Vikings are just the Vikings. I mean, they just, with all that talent that they have and just underachieve every year. And I'm a Zimmer guy, but it's getting harder and harder to defend Mike Zimmer sometimes.
I agree.
It's bad sometimes. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't have won this game. And I blame this game on the defense. Their defense did not play well.
Right.
Big plays all over the field. I just didn't. Yeah. In my favorite game of the year so far, and my favorite game of the day for sure, Colts Packers 34-31. I like this game a lot. I thought it was a good matchup of styles, defense versus offense. The Colts are one of my sleeper teams. I really like the Colts a lot. Their defense is legit. Yes.
I thought their defense, similar to what you say about Tampa, like they'll play against worse teams and they'll dominate them. But when they play like an Aaron Rodgers led team, they'll just.
No, I think the problem with them is their defense for the most part shows up. It's just their offense. At the beginning of the year, their offense was still kind of iffy, but now I think their offense is finding a good groove. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman is stepping up, and I think Phillip Rivers is starting to get in this groove a little bit. Look, I like
Ty is too a little bit. Ty is not like what he used to be.
Ty is losing it. He's not.
He's starting to get involved a little bit.
He's starting to. Yeah. But you could see that team is starting to figure it out now, and I think Frank Reich is a hell of a coach. I like Frank Reich a lot. As a coach, the Colts are a sleeper team. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl, but I think they're a team that in January can give a team, they can give, they're a classic 5 seed that can give a 4 or 3 seed some trouble. Right. And I really like the Colts. I mean, I think their defense, Phillip Rivers, if you don't ask him to do too much at this age, he could still make some throws. I mean, he played well in spurts this game. I like the Colts a lot. And the Packers, there's something missing with the Packers. I don't love their offense. Everybody brings up their defense. I don't love their offense sometimes.
Right.
They don't have a great player outside of Rodgers. Aaron Jones is a good running back. He's not great.
Devontae's good, man.
Devontae. I take that back.
Devontae's good.
But for a team that has Devontae Adams, their offense sometimes just doesn't always do it for me.
Well, yeah. I mean, because he doesn't have anyone on the opposite side. MVS is like very hit or miss. Lazard's not that good. So there's no one to balance it out. You have a tight end in Tanyan, who I think is pretty good, but they don't have anyone to really get attention on the other side. So, yeah, I agree with you. Their offense isn't as good.
And it's not necessarily on the coach, because I think the coach, LaFleur, is a good coach. It's personnel. And they thought it was apt to draft the quarterback in the first round, which makes no fucking sense, but whatever. Keep on Packers.
In a draft where there's receivers galore.
Yeah. They're experts, so they say. And the Sunday Night Football game, Chiefs and Raiders. That was a good game too.
Yeah, man. Just to give you a shout out, Derek Carr, man. I mean, I know they lost, but he made some throws, he made some plays, and really impressed me. I think the Raiders are a very good team. I think people sleep on them, but the Chiefs, there was no doubt in my mind watching that Patrick Mahomes, with 2 minutes to go in the game, was going to go down.
They scored too early. Well,
yeah, once they scored, I was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
You can't give Pat Mahomes that much time.
Yeah, you can't give him that much time. And the defense got, but also sometimes I hate that though, man. Because I'm like, if you're a defense, make a stop. Come on. You can't let a guy go down and score a touchdown.
It looked way too easy. He did not. That drive was too easy.
He barely broke a sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Raiders are a good team, man. I've been a Derek Carr apologist for too long. I'm glad that he's finally having a resurgence. I think Derek Carr's really good, and I think he's a good quarterback. And I'm surprised about that Raiders team. Even with Derek Carr being good, I didn't expect this from that Raiders team. I mean, they easily could have won this game.
Yeah. They control the clock. They control the ball. They have a good run game. They have a solid passing game in which it's like methodical, but they take their shots here and there. They're well coached. They're very well coached.
They're well coached, and which surprised me because I'm not a Gruden guy. I think he's overrated. And, they're well coached. They execute well. And what it is about the Raiders, they're not a sexy team. They don't, they don't have they kind of have a no-name defense. Their offense outside of Josh Jacobs, it's a lot of guys. They're just guys. I know Waller's pretty good, but, realistically, they just don't really have that, those guys that you just think of like, that's a team. Right. But no, I think the Raiders are really good. I think their defense is good. And they'll be one of those teams, they'll give somebody, and they play the Chiefs hard. I mean, they play the Chiefs tough. I mean, 2 games this year, they've played the Chiefs neck and neck. So, yeah. And then finally we'll end with the Monday Night Football game tomorrow. Rams at Buccaneers. That should be a good game.
That's going to be a really good game. And I think it's going to say a lot about both teams, because these are two teams who I think are you can make the case are good, or make the case that they're overrated. The Rams offensively aren't what they were when they made the Super Bowl, but their defense is a lot better, and Goff is serviceable. I mean, Goff, he toes that line between game manager and playmaker, or someone you can win a Super Bowl with. Obviously, he went to the Super Bowl, so he's capable of bringing a team to a Super Bowl. And then you have the Buccaneers, who I think they're good. I think if they get out in the playoffs, they could win the NFC. I wouldn't pick it to happen. But at the same time, like, you have people out there who think they're a little overrated. So it's going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top. It's not a game I would take if you're a betting man. Just sit back and watch and see what happens.
In a lot of ways, two similar teams.
Yeah,
two very similar teams in their respective divisions, I guess. I just think the Buccaneers are too much of a bully team, man. They'll show up and they'll beat the bad teams, and then against the good team.
You got the Rams. You said you got the Rams?
I like the Rams, man. I like what I see with the Rams, man. The Rams have a very good defense, borderline great. I'm higher on Goff than other people are, and I think they have a really good running game.
Yeah, they do.
They have a really good running game. They have a really good run game. That tandem. They do everything a little bit well. Their receivers are better than people think. I like the Rams a lot. And the Buccaneers, I could just never try. I mean, is this the Buccaneers team that shows up against the New Orleans Saints of the world? Is this the Buccaneers team that shows up against the Carolina Panthers of the world? Is this the Buccaneers team that lost to Chicago a couple weeks ago, or beat down Tampa, or beat down Green Bay? You just never know with this Buccaneers team. Right. So, smart money probably is to bet on Brady at home, but I would be surprised if the Rams. I mean, that's a pick'em game. I would go with the Rams. I'm going to go with the Rams. I think the Rams pull off an upset.
I'm going to agree with you here. I'm going to go with the Rams as well.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. I mean, it's easily a pick'em game. Either way, you can't go wrong. So, yeah. All right, man. That is it. We got through it. Yes. Got through it. We learned something about each other. Thought that was great. Great conversation to start the show there.
Yeah, man.
When you guys listen to it and play it back, give us some suggestions, man. Not only Thanksgiving food and do's and don'ts, but also how to help my friend Josh here. Break this phobia. Anybody who knows? You never know who's listening, man. Maybe
That's true.
A medical professional out there is listening. It's got some, an expert, knows more than we do. So yeah, for sure, man. Of course, as always, man, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting. You guys can follow the show on Twitter at AGS Pod. Follow the show on Facebook Any Given Sunday. Follow me on Twitter at DManuel Brown. Facebook Manuel Brown. Instagram DManuel Brown. I'm everywhere. Josh, where can the folks follow you?
I'm on Twitter, Instagram at Josh_Rodriguez_. The NBA's back, and so is my podcast, The Dime with Josh Rodriguez. So follow that at The Dime NBA.
Yes, sir.
Also, just type in The Dime with Josh Rodriguez. It should come up on all of your podcast platforms. And if you're into boy bands, which I know is kind of weird for a lot of you, but you know what? I grew up liking boy bands. I have a podcast about it. It's that New Pod on the Block, and we're doing a boy band bracket, greatest songs of all time, and it's going pretty well. A lot of upsets in the first round. Some that I'm not happy about, but it's okay.
Yes, it is. I might have to make an appearance on this boy band pod. I will not confirm or deny if I liked any of the songs or not right now, but I will just say my opinions matter. So I might have to make them known there on that show. Yeah, man, make sure you check that out. Of course. Thank you guys for listening. Short work week for everybody, so hopefully you guys check this podcast out. Check it out over the holiday break. Most importantly, man, be safe. Enjoy your time with your family. If you're going to be with your family, if you're traveling, please be safe. Don't do anything stupid. Wear your mask, wash your hands, all that good stuff. Of course, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for listening. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the podcast with Josh Rodriguez. I'm Manny Brown. We are out of here. Peace. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.